Wild stories you've not heard before. Echoes through the air, they roar. Unleash the beast, let your spirit soar. Fists in the air, the crowds ablaze. Moments that seal the mundane taste. No fear, no hold in this maze. Reach the peak of these wild days. It lives, Friday night lives. You die, but Friday night lives. Hosted by Deadbeat Radio. Stuntman Marky Rambo Rap. Fists in the air, the crowds ablaze. Moments that steal the mundane taste. No fear, no hold in this maze. Reach the peak of these wild days. It lives, Friday night lives. You die, but Friday night lives. Hosted by Deadbeat Radio. Stuntman Marky Rambo Rap.
Woo, daddy, let me tell you, we're going to go straight down the middle tonight, baby, talking about the biggest box office turkeys you ever seen. Just in time for Thanksgiving. The biggest cinematic turkeys ever recorded. And, you know, that's one part of the show. I've got a bunch of other topics on here I want to talk about. A bunch of stuff has happened in the last week that some of it's funny, some of it's not so funny. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. As always, though, big thanks to Stuntman Mark for being here in the midst of a trying experience, and Rambo, of course, for being here too. This is a multicast tonight, so yeah, we're simulcasting all over the world. You can only see this if you go down to your local closed circuit partnerships. So yeah, we're doing this in Chicago. I think at the Chicago, what the fuck is down there, Mark? Like, what's the big dome? It's down in Chicago because that's where you can see this closed circuit only.
Yeah, live from Wrigley Field.
Yeah,
That's where we are.
this is a good point. Don't forget too that. Wait a second, it's the wrong one. Chat's moving too fast. That Black Friday lives next week.
That's true.
I think we'll probably postpone this show next week, if I was guessing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm trying to think what day is that? Is that the 29th? Or
That
Friday next week?
is-
You see.
That is the 29th, yeah.
Okay. Because I mean, it would be pretty redundant to do like a Black Friday lives and you guys are doing the vinegar.
Oh
syndrome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Although
That-
I mean, I guess maybe we could do everything but vinegar syndrome for Black Friday deals. Maybe. It's up to you guys.
It's an interesting idea, though. Yeah. Because, I mean, we always cover the Black Friday, which is weird because this year, Severin and Vinegar Syndrome are having like a big Black Friday thing. I don't know if it's at the same time, same day or whatever. If it is, that's a stupid idea on Severin's part, but, you know, it's somewhere in there. But, dude, there's going to be a ton of shit on sale. And that's one of the things I want to talk about, though, is some of these releases that have come out. Oh, man. But let's see who we got in here tonight. We've got a bunch of new people in here that I have not seen before. And I don't know, Rambo, maybe they're coming from you, but I don't remember them from even like those chats. Androny, the Diviner.
Yep.
I know that one.
Good guy.
We, of course, got Bucky, Greg Brewer, Crystal, DJ Mexicano de Texas.
Good guy.
He says, hello, Rambo. Devin Harbert, Chaz Herring, Brett Stroll, Justin Smith, Joe Brandonopoulos. That's got to be one from you.
Yep.
Gourd Guts. Dark Force Entertainment is where you go for your, if you want to see your pro wrestling shoots for like 2 hours long on a Facebook page. That is an amazing, dude. I'm not joking when I tell you this. That guy, Demon Dave, he is more entertaining than anybody in the AEW right now. Like I would listen to him talk for 2 hours before I would watch one AEW match. Punisher Batman fan is here. What? Shabbat does pop cultures and opening. Okay.
Good guy.
McCord. Cameron. Black Peter, of course. Thanos is in here, bulls.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, there's a ton of people in here. Rathammer, as always, good to see you. Blair, good to see you as always. So, what I thought we would do, this is the most interesting way I could think to do this, actually, is do it by year. In other words, I've got these are the biggest box office bombs ever, but they're kind of categorized by year. So it starts in like the 60s and progresses from there. And it's got it adjusted for inflation about how much these movies lost. I'm curious, like if you guys have seen these movies, what your thoughts are, if you think it deserves the hate that it gets, if you think it deserved to bomb as much as it did.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of go from there. There's some interesting movies on this list, and they progressively lose more and more money, of course, as like time goes by. And I mean, even adjusted for inflation, like some of these, the 2000s movies, especially, like they lost like hundreds of millions of dollars. Like craziness. So, okay. I wonder if I should share my screen or just go through them here. I guess we'll just go through them. The first one is 1964's The Fall of the Roman Empire, which lost $140 million adjusted for inflation. I've never seen that movie, so we can just, I don't think any of us have, so we can move on from that. The next one is pretty infamous. I've never seen it, but I've always heard about it. 1980's Heaven's Gate lost $150 million adjusted for inflation.
I've never seen the movie, but there is a fantastic documentary, and I forget what it was called, about the making of the film. It is so fascinating, all the stuff that happened, where the director literally ignored everything the studio said, and like he built an entire town, and then he had the entire town moved a few feet to get the shot he wanted.
That's a killer idea. Yeah.
And just how, like, there's a guy who he uses a whip. He filmed that like 100 times because he wanted the perfect shot. And I believe, I could be wrong, that is the film. You know how at movies, it's at the end, they go, no animals were harmed in the making of this film? I think it was because of that film, because a bunch of horses got completely either killed or maimed, or because you see scenes where they're just tackling over each other. And Final Cut, that's what it's called. Even if you've never seen the film, folks, check out Final Cut, The Making of Heaven's Gate. It is such a fascinating journey. And they talk about people how United Artists went bankrupt because of that film. I mean, United Artists, that's why they had to deal with other companies. And films like that, as well, like a few others, is why studios took more control on the movies, because that's when they gave directors more power. But when they saw a studio like United Artists fall, they're like, I mean, hell, look what happened to Fox later on, got bought off by Disney. Like, this is why these studios now put more hands onto the creators. But yeah, again, Final Cut, The Making of Heaven's Gate, urge anyone to see that. It's fascinating.
It's weird because you do see that shift from the 70s where like they gave everybody creative control and the directors were kind of the biggest, stars and there's, and then into the 80s you see it like shift quite a bit where studios start to take more control and they don't let them and Tarantino always talks about it and he's like that was the most oppressive time in cinema history. I don't agree with him. He says the 80s is like the worst time for movies. I don't know how that dude's got some fucking weird takes, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and that's one of them too. Like
Yes.
I think he's just got a huge hard on for the 70s and he just like
Mhm.
nothing's ever going to be as good to him, Oh God. Look, you know what you need to be working on right now, Felcher? You got the standard edition of Trick or Treat. You need to be working on the limited edition Ozzy and Gene Simmons cover. Instead of that crappy cover you got on it right now, you need that cover from what was it? Platinum Media or something like that?
Yeah.
Coming here. You could always go listen to Rue Morgue Radio. Oh, wait, you can't. They won Rondos. They don't exist anymore. Shout out to Rue Morgue Radio, though. I'm just kidding around.
They went the way United Artists.
They did. They went the way United Artists. So, okay, so 80s Heaven's Gate. And then 83 is another one that I've always heard about, never seen. Kroll, 1983. Lost $102 million. Adjusted for inflation.
Oh,
yeah.
Mhm.
Everything I'm telling you is just like what it would be
Oh, yeah.
now money.
Mhm.
I've seen Kroll. I liked it. I grew with it. I like James Horner's score. Ride of the Firemares especially. It's a fantastic piece of music. I believe some of the actors are dubbed. It came out the same year as Return of the Jedi. I think Return of the Jedi stole all of his thunder. But it's a cool fantasy film. I love like the way this beast character in the castle can disappear like every night or something, so that it's hard to find where the villains are, and the other foot soldiers are like not stormtroopers, but kind of like that, but they're black, and the way they die have this really creepy screech whenever they're killed. And yeah, the glaive. I love the glaive. I just wish it was used more, but it's this weapon that kind of later Tyler Xena had that.
Yeah, that's the one thing from that movie I remember in terms of like seeing it. It's like a boomerang with like 3 sides that have like knives on them or something like
Yeah,
that.
knives come
Yeah.
out. And then boomerang back. Liam Neeson has a small role in that. I liked it, but I'm nostalgic for it. I think it's a fun fantasy film. And yeah, I always liked it. I don't think it deserved a bomb.
He does have a good question. How do you catch that thing? Throw it. Yeah.
Very carefully.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Well, how do people catch a knife that does like, and they do like this? Whenever they throw knives, they always do like this.
It's all skill.
It is very much skill. Does anybody in here really like Kroll? I mean, where's my Krollsters at, brother?
I mean, I didn't grow up with it, but like I feel the same way about that, like I do about Legend and a few others from like the 80s that have that fantasy element to them. Like it's okay. Maybe had I grown up with it like Rambo, maybe I might feel differently, but it's all right. I mean, I don't hate it. I trying to think where all the money went, but then I guess, back then things were different when it comes to cost of, did it say like budget wise what it was?
Oh, let's see if it lists budget on here. Yeah, budget was $27 million.
Okay.
Those are good.
And it lost. It lost. This is killer. So the budget was $27 million,
Mhm.
and it lost almost $34 million. So adjusted for inflation at that time, that would be $102 million today.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some cool creatures. There's a guy who's like Cyclops with one eye. There's a spider woman and the whole nest of it. There's definitely again, like you said, Legend, like those type of movies. Although I like it a bit more than Legend. But yeah, I'm a Kroll
It's interesting
fan.
though. That is one that I would like to see, honestly.
It's a fuckload better than any Star Wars sequel
Yeah, I mean, I guarantee that's true.
that Disney has made.
A lot of people in here got some Kroll love here. So here's another one. I have actually seen this movie, and it is a piece of shit, and it's incredibly mind-numbingly boring. It's kind of famous for being a huge bomb, probably more so than any other movie. 1987's Ishtar, which lost
boring.
$109 million adjusted for inflation. It had a huge budget, though. Here's the thing. In 1987, the budget was $51 million, and it lost $40 million. It lost $40 million, y'all. So,
Wow.
not great. No. It was just I don't know what the story was behind Ishtar. There's probably a documentary about that as well. But it's just one of those movies that's like at a snail's pace, drama, kind of like characterish kind of study.
Mhm.
Well,
It has some great actors in it, but a good cohesive movie whatsoever.
yeah, it tried to be like the Bob Hope, Bing Crosby kind of adventure comedies back then, but I think audiences were not only were they not having it, it just wasn't a good movie. Like you said, it's very boring. Maybe the worst film Dustin Hoffman's been in.
Yeah,
I'm try-
Warren Beatty, Dustin Hoffman.
See that.
It's
Well, Warren Beatty's used to be in some bad movies, but Dustin
Yeah.
Hoffman.
but I mean, great actors.
Yeah.
The actors were great. I think the biggest part of the problem was the story. Like the story is just incredibly kind of stupid, and it's about these guys that are songwriters that go off into the desert and like they go to Morocco or some fucking place like that. And it just there's a lot of focus on, much like the first Star Trek, just the scenery and just
Mhm.
showing all these landscape shots and
Mhm.
just the dialogue between them, which is supposed to be funny, by the way. It's supposed to be a fucking comedy,
Comedy, yeah.
and it's not at all. Like, it does not work.
And their singers,
Yeah,
which didn't
Yeah.
work. It's
this is a perfect kind of explanation of what it is. It's like a more expensive spice like us.
I was just about to say, just go watch Spies. Like, I swear to God, I was about to say
Yeah.
that.
It is a much better movie, honest to God. Okay, so we move past Ishtar. The next one, this is gonna get some heat, I think, especially from Rambo. 1991's Hudson Hawk.
Well, I'm
It
not a
lo-
diehard fan of it. I liked it for what it is, but it's I can see why it bombed.
It lost $107 million adjusted for inflation.
Jesus.
I mean, I wouldn't even put that in my top 10 Bruce Willis films, but I mean, I've seen a lot worse. I think there's a goofy charm. I like Danny Aiello in it. There's some weird lines. I mean, the final line is, "Will you play Nintendo with me?"
It's too like quirky for its own good. That's what I think happened with Hudson Hawk. Like, it was just too, like, I get what they were going for with it, kind of like they're trying to be,
live
with the
action
humor.
cartoon.
Yeah, like that. And he's singing through it. And like, Bruce Willis's his character is just all over the place, and nothing like a Bruce Willis character that you've seen.
Mhm.
It is such a weird movie though. And the choices that they make in that movie, man, like it's kind of like it's not this bad, but the choices that they make in it are kind of like Leonard Part 6 to me. Like
Mm.
that, just some of the shit they do, you're just like, what? It's so goofy and silly.
Yeah.
But Hudson Hawk is way better than Leonard Part 6.
Yeah, I'm not saying it. Yeah, it's definitely a better movie, but it's just goofball. It's way too goofball.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, go ahead.
the balance of comedy in it for me. It just never really worked for me. Like you said, it is very different from most Bruce Willis stuff, but I will agree with Rambo again. It ain't that bad, but I could kind of see how it lost money, given the type of film that it is.
Well, especially at the time, Bruce Willis, it was Die Hard,
Mhm.
The Last Boy Scout, and then you have
Exactly.
like this. I can have fun with it though. I mean, it's so weird, like you said, like all the people who have candy bar names. One of them's David
Mhm.
Caruso, who's a mute. Was it was he
It's got fucking Frank Stallone in it.
I was gonna say that, yeah, Frank Stallone.
It's got Andy McDowell. What a cast, man! Danny Aiello, Andy McDowell, Frank Stallone, David Caruso.
and James Coburn.
It's just such a
Right,
weird.
yeah.
And the fact like the ball and he kills the dog and the dog flies out the window.
Mhm.
He would do that today.
No.
It's all about like the Da Vinci flying thing. But it's I think it's fun. I can see why it bombed. It was just too weird of a movie, but
Mhm.
I liked it for that reason. Because there are the films today that are just so generic. I
Yeah,
appreciate a film like that that just went for it, and I
it
can have
went.
fun
It
with it.
definitely went for it. It
Yeah.
went like if
I'll
there's
give it
one
that.
thing, if there's one thing I can say about that movie, man, like it 100% went all out. Like everybody seemed committed to it too,
Mhm.
especially Willis. Like in Cop Out, he seems like he's just there. Like he just 100% does not want to be there. He
Mhm.
doesn't want to be doing any of that stuff, the goofy stuff that he's doing. In this movie, he seems like he really wants to be doing it, like almost too much. Like he's so into like what he's doing, it's kind of scary.
Yeah, I think given like the script, I mean, if you look at it, it's like they kind of had to be all in on it, or it wasn't really going to work. And some would argue that it still doesn't anyway. But
Yeah.
like you said, Rambo, you like it for those reasons. I mean, it's got some charm to it, so that's why you like it. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. It's better than the shitty direct video
Mm.
movies.
Not to
Yeah.
Tarantino. He loves those movies.
He thinks those are great. That's another hot
He's-
take.
He's fucking trolling. There's no way he likes that stuff.
Isn't
I don't
she?
know.
Is Sandra Bernhard in that movie?
Yep, she's the
I thought.
villain, one of the villains.
Mm.
She owns the dog.
Oh my god.
Ball.
There is some people that like that movie.
I definitely think it's got a cult following.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Here's one that I don't think has that much of a cult following. It is one of the biggest bombs in history. I don't understand why either to this day, but 1995's Cutthroat Island lost $210 million adjusted for inflation. Gina Davis. I think it was Matthew Modine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm still confused about how that movie did so bad. Rennie Harlan directed it. I mean, he's really well known for, action movies for certain,
Mhm.
even at that time. What do you think happened? Like, why did that movie shit the bed that much?
I've often thought like why, but I can't really put my finger on it. I guess maybe timing, maybe the time that it came out. I guess it wasn't really what people cared to see given the time period it takes place in, and maybe even the story. I don't know. Because I don't think it's necessarily the cast. I actually go ahead.
Does anyone really give a shit about Matthew Modine?
What?
Maybe not. I mean, but
Because it was originally supposed to be
How
Michael
dare
Douglas.
you?
Michael Douglas was going to star, but then he
Yeah.
left. I think he knew it was going to fail, and then they
Yeah.
got Matthew Modine last minute.
mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then Felcher says too that miscast with Mel Lead and the script isn't great.
People are not into pirate movies. I know people will say Pirates of the Caribbean, but that was like a lightning in a bottle that even the sequels didn't capture.
Mhm.
There were plenty of pirate bombs back in the 80s and 70s. There was Pirates the movie and like all these other pirate films that people see that and it's like, I don't really care about seeing a movie unless like the Goonies, like maybe something like that. But
Yeah.
There's a couple of movies on here like that where I believe that it's more about just like the subject matter at that time period. People are just like, I don't really give a
That's-
shit.
That's what I think made it bomb. I mean, I don't think people cared just because of like the subject matter. Nobody wants to see a period piece movie like that. And what was it, 95? You said so. Like
95, yeah.
nobody gave a
Even
shit.
I mean, it's not the same, but even when in 1992 you had the two competing Christopher Columbus films, you had the Ridley Scott one, 1492, and then you
Yep.
had the Salkinds doing Christopher Columbus: The Discovery with Tom Selleck and Marlon Brando. Those are big bombs. And yeah, people just aren't really into that kind of stuff. Pirates of the Caribbean was a lightning in a bottle with Johnny Depp's performance, but
Mhm.
that's why it's called lightning in a bottle.
So there's some great movies on this list, man. Movies that I've forgotten about. And like this one in particular, I've never even heard of, which goes to show you like how much of a bomb that this was. 1997's Father's Day with Robin
Yep.
Williams, Billy Crystal, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. It lost $127 million. I'd never even heard of that movie, man.
It's
Till right now.
it's directed by Ivan Reitman, who did Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Trying to
seen it.
remember that movie. I only vaguely remember it.
It's
I can't even picture it anymore if I have seen it.
The cover looks like the most generic thing you've ever seen. It's just like the three of them, like their heads on a
It's,
white background.
yeah, Robin Williams and Billy Crystal, they used to go out with the same woman, and the woman goes to each one of them. They say, "My kid's missing," and she kind of infers to each one of them that you're the father, in order for both of them to go find this kid who's missing. And it's, I think, a remake of a film from overseas, I believe.
Yeah.
I remember-
Yeah, it's a French film, it says.
Yeah. I know, like, Mel Gibson has a cameo. He's like all tattooed up, got like a nose earring and a cameo. I thought it was okay, but considering those two guys starred in it, you thought it would be a lot funnier than it was. So I don't think it's that bad of a movie. I think it's a time waster. I think it's okay, but I mean, I'm a big Robin Williams fan. It was cool to see those two together because they did a lot of those comic, what's it called? For the homeless, those comic specials.
Oh, Comic Relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although fuck Whoopi Goldberg, she's a bitch. But
Buddy, what you got against Goldberg?
So random.
have you seen The View?
No.
Yes.
I
I think I know what you're referring to. This specific
there-
clips and things. She
Well,
said.
there's about 50 things I could say is by Will, but yeah, fuck The View.
I know at least one
A
of them.
View. That's not on my it's not on my radar.
It's not on mine too, but it's like every day it gets thrust into the damn page, and it's
Fucking View. When I look for like political and think tanks, that's where I go. The View. Those old skip skack scallywags. Yes, I have seen Kickboxer, and it's one of my favorite action films. Anyway, so Father's Day, I'm glad I feel like you've seen a lot of shitty films, Rambo. A lot of like really like
see, yeah, that's why maybe I can watch that film because I've seen a lot worse than Father's Day. I think that's watchable. It's fine. But I'm not going to say people don't love it or anything. I think it's fine. But
Are you are you ready for this one's fascinating to me for one reason, really. Stanley Kubrick did a version of this film, and then this happened in 1997. Lolita lost $116 million. What's fascinating to me about this movie is that it had a $62 million budget. It made $1 million in the box office.
Jesus.
And I'm just like,
I would have thought it'd done at least a little bit more than that.
in terms of like when you look at like the budget versus what a film made, like this is one of the ones that's the furthest away from the budget. Like,
I'd say so, yeah.
it's crazy to me. I have seen this movie. It's been a long time ago, and I have seen the Kubrick Lolita too.
Mhm.
I don't know, man. I thought both of them were fine. Like, I don't think it deserved to lose $61 million, but that's a hard sell kind of movie too, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like, you know
yeah.
anything about the subject matter of that movie, like It's a
Mhm.
difficult movie to. I don't know if 97. You know, I don't feel like 97 people were that uptight yet, but
No.
regardless, it lost a ton of money, unfortunately. And then the other one in 1997 that lost a ton of money, and I definitely remember this one because like this was kind of the beginning of a string of these movies for poor Kevin Costner, The Postman, which lost $133 million on an $80 million budget. Do you remember this fucker?
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Boring as shit.
That's a one-time watch for me. I'll probably never watch it again. Not my cup of tea. I do like some '90s Costner stuff, but that ain't one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even mind Waterworld. I don't think Waterworld's that bad, especially if you watch the other cut. I think it's called the Ulysses cut. It's actually not that bad of a movie.
Mm.
But Postman is so boring. Unless you like someone walking.
I mean, they did make him Lord of the Rings movies. People love that.
Well,
That's true.
It's a lot of
If you s-
walking. That's fucking like 10 hours of walking in those 3 movies. Oh, fuck. People are going to shit. Okay.
It's also really
Uh,
long too. I mean, it's like a 3-hour movie of walking. So, you know,
This is killer comment. I saw the Postman on the Midnight Show taking the 2 depth charges from Caribou Coffee. I remember it all in 16K in my head. It's a shame you remember that movie that well.
have you two seen Waterworld? Because that was known.
Yeah,
It wasn't
yeah,
a.
man. Oh,
it
yeah.
wasn't a bomb, but people thought it was like the biggest bomb.
mhm.
I Waterworld was one of those odd movies that like it got so much bad press when it came out that I avoided it then, but then ended up watching it like probably 10, 15 years later.
Same.
And-
Yeah. I remember all the previews for it, like in the '90s when I would go see movies, and I always thought it was an interesting concept. But you know, like he said, a lot of the fan feedback and even critically, people didn't seem to receive it too well. But later on, I watched it. I had fun with it for what it is and what they're trying to do. It's not too bad. Like, I don't mind it.
Dennis Hopper's a lot of fun when he's like the eyes, like it does look like shit.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like yeah, it's fake eye.
like Lord of the Rings with Kevin Costner, 3-4 hours of walking and talking.
Mhm.
All right. So the Postman, that's the end of 97. 98 has a huge string of flops as well. Again, one that I've never heard of. Don't
Mhm.
know anything about it. It stars Oprah Winfrey, Danny Glover,
Beloved.
Beloved. Yeah, 1998 on a budget of $80 million. Adjusted for inflation, lost $128 million.
God.
Isn't that like a supernatural horror movie?
It's
in
a
way?
psychological horror film by Jonathan Demme, of all people. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds
I
of the
vaguely-
Lambs director.
Vaguely remember it.
Yeah, it's been, jeez. I probably saw it like early to mid 2000s. Haven't seen it since. It's been a long time.
Was that thin Oprah or fat Oprah?
I don't fucking know, Rambo. I didn't look, and I've never seen it.
I'm just asking. For people in the chat, they answer too.
We can guess the decade or the time frame by whether or not Oprah was huge or not. 1998. I actually have seen this movie, and I don't understand why this movie flopped, but it did. Hard Rain, the action thriller, lost $112 million. Christian Slater, Morgan Freeman. Quite a good cast of people in this movie.
Mhm.
An interesting concept for the movie. It shit the bed though.
I enjoyed it. The guys who wrote it, they wrote the Speed, and then they wrote Broken Arrow, then they wrote this. I think it's a fun film. I like Slater and Morgan Freeman. What's cool about it is they make the entire town flooded practically,
Uh-huh.
which nowadays that all be done CG. And there's some good action sequences there.
Mhm.
There's some good stunt work there. And again, I appreciate like that's a time period you'll never see again. They will never flood a whole area of a town and film
Mhm.
like I don't think it's jet skis. It's I forget what the other. It's not jet skis, but I forget what it's Ski-Doos. I think they were using.
Ski-Doos, yeah.
And yeah, there's some good stunt work. It's out of print on Blu-ray.
Sorry. Some of these comments. I like, yeah, I don't think that Hard Rain deserved to die that horrible of a death. Oh boy, that was a lot of water.
It was.
Yeah.
Have you seen it,
Oh.
Mark?
Yeah, I actually like it. I mean, I prefer it to a couple of the other Slater movies of the 90s, actually. I won't say which ones. No,
I
Ramble.
know
I
it.
have it.
I
You
already
know what?
know it.
Yeah, you already
Yep.
know. But yeah, it's it shouldn't have bombed. I mean, that's another one. I can't figure out why. I like what they were doing in it. It had the cast. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else that came out in the 90s. Maybe it was it beat out by something like in the same weekend when it came out? Like, so
I wish
it got,
I
like,
could-
lost in the shuffle.
I wish I could see that on here. I can't see. I mean, I could pull it up, but it'd take me forever to find like the
Oh, okay.
somebody can look it up kind of like what came out around that same time. Yeah, if you think about Slater though, I think this is a good point. Maybe this was like his first kind of like attempt to be a mainstream action star. And it when did Cuffs come out? Because I feel like that was another
It was
Early
like
90s.
91, I want to
okay.
say.
So I feel like Cuffs was maybe his first attempt.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out that well either. I
Or
mean,
was
it's not-
would Gleam in the Cube be one? Because that was before, right?
That's yeah. I mean, that's kind of a
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I guess he was the star. I don't know if you consider that an action film, though.
Well, skateboarding action, I guess.
Maybe, yeah.
But anyway, and then you have Broken Arrow after that, which I know
Yeah,
you're talking
yeah.
about that, Mark. You talking shit about it. I know what you do it.
talking shit. On
But I like all
fucking
those movies. I like Gleam in the Cube deserves a Blu-ray in the US.
Mhm.
Cuffs is a good one. I love Tony Dolan losing his mind.
Sorry. There's people talking shit about Gleam in the Cube. How dare you? Damn it. Gleam in the Cube is a masterpiece. True Romance. Yeah, I didn't think about True Romance. I mean, that actually worked
Mhm.
as I mean, his performance in that as an action star.
Yeah.
I love this next one though. I love going back because I completely forgot about this movie too. I 100% get why this movie bombed though. 1998's Jack Frost with Michael Keaton.
Classic.
It lost $127 million. It was just like one of those movies where it was like you immediately knew like what it was trying to do. It was
Mhm.
trying to like be a tearjerker, sentimental piece that
Mhm.
just like did not fucking work at all. And what an odd concept for that to be the case too.
Mhm.
And yeah, the Jack Snowman in it is creepy as hell too.
Right, yeah.
So that didn't help anything either. But it
I
was
th-
just
They thought that they were going to get all the little kids and the parents were going to take their kids to see it, and it was going to be this nice, wholesome family Christmas tearjerker movie, but it just did not work at all, and on any level.
Billionaire Boys Club. Was that the one that they're watching in that fucking is Billionaire Boys Club the one that the Menendez brothers were watching? Or that it seems like that was the movie that they based that murder and shit on, but I can't remember. Anyway, it's an interesting call up for that movie in particular. So up next, guarantee you Rambo's seen this. I have not seen this. This is one of his favorite directors too. 1998's Soldier
Hmm.
with Kurt Russell.
Paul Wild Stallions Anderson.
That's right.
I like Soldier.
Soldier lost $112 million adjusted for inflation. Yeah.
Soldier took a bit to grow on me. I think at first it's like it's pretty generic. It's
Mhm.
guy fights the whole plot seems very generic, but it's grown on
Yeah.
me. I like it for what it is, as just a one-man army action film.
Mhm.
Definitely one of the director's better films. But also I think because of Kurt Russell.
He's really trying in that.
Yeah.
Like he's going for it, and I can appreciate that. That's part of why I like it so much.
Yeah, I do watch it for Kurt Russell. And yeah, I like those one-man army type of films, so I'm a sucker for that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of people seem to like that movie, actually. And a lot of people seem to hate Jack Frost. That seems to be the two camps. Do you think that movie hurt Kurt Russell at all? I mean, it came out in 98.
Well, I
I'm
know
trying to think what he did after that immediately,
I know he took it because it was a big payday. It was kind of his last kind of hurrah for big action, because before they did Steve from LA.
Mm-hmm.
I think he hurt himself during it. I know he got injured during the making of the film. And then after that, he did more dramas, like Dark Blue was one. And when was Breakdown?
That was 97, I
That was
think.
right before it, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think he did stuff like Dark Blue and stuff of that nature, so.
All right.
But I think like that film, like, I mean, if you think about it, Kurt Russell, as much as I love the guy, once in a while he would have a hit. Tombstone,
He had,
Breakdown.
yeah, he had a lot of bombs, man. He really did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, this is a movie that I remember you could find pretty much immediately after it came out, like anywhere for like $1 rental or to buy for next to nothing. It is 1998's Sphere with Dustin Hoffman, Sharon Stone, and Samuel L. Jackson. Do you remember this movie?
Oh,
It's based
yeah.
on a Michael Crichton book, which everybody thought around that time anything you put out with Michael Crichton is going to be gold because of, but it lost $114 million pretty much immediately.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a sci-fi film. I like the cat.
Underwater sci-fi, yeah.
Yeah, I like Dustin Hoffman. Liev Schreiber was in that. Samuel Jackson, Sharon Stone. The thing is with the marketing, they marketed like it was going to be a monster movie. Because I remember like it's going to be the tentacles, but it was not that at all. It's much more of a psychological sci-fi because it's about your fears, and your fears are implemented into reality, and it's about like the people turning on each other. I remember people really did not like the ending. To not spoil it, the way it ended.
Well, I mean, it is an alien, right? Technically, isn't that what they're trying to infer, that it is an alien?
Maybe, but at the same time, it's the sphere it's more of an object. It's not like actual creatures or something.
Yeah. It's like a sentient type of object that can think and influence and manifest things out of thoughts in your mind. Basically.
Hey, Felsher, how about this? Sphere we go. That's seriously a tagline.
I actually don't mind Sphere. I could watch it for what it is, but I'm one of those that I like Star Trek the Motion Picture. I like 2001: A Space Odyssey. I'm into sci-fi, so if it's a slow-moving film with a cast I like.
Mm-hmm. Is this true? I've never seen this movie, but is this
true?
She is. She dies in a cloud of jellyfish.
Yeah, they sting her all over, and it goes through her suit, and she dies. Yeah,
because I think that's Dustin Hoffman's Fear. because at one point, like when he was a kid or back in the day, he was attacked by them, and I guess
Mhm.
whatever fear manifests.
Seriously. Please leave it. Oh shit. This is great.
It's definitely not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I just see why it bombed because, again, the way it's advertised felt like it was going to be like an action, like adventure horror, and it wasn't that at all. It was
Yeah,
not
I
that at
mean,
all.
there are a few moments in it where it's got some like horror elements to it, and they try to build up tension and suspense. But I just, given the subject matter, I'm not sure how well that really works because
Yeah.
there's not really ever a payoff to a lot of it other than like characters dying because of various reasons. So I don't know, take that for what you will.
So can you guys guess this next one? 1999. It is possibly the biggest box office bomb of all time, depending on what the budget of this film was, because it's got a budget range of anywhere between 100 to 160 million dollars.
Okay.
And adjusted for inflation, it lost anywhere between 126 to 230 million dollars.
Pluto Nash.
That's
Oh,
coming up.
that's 2000.
This is one that I vaguely remember. It's also based on a Michael Crichton book, The 13th Warrior.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
I remember.
Antonio Banderas. Yeah.
Antonio
Oh, yeah.
Banderas is
Yep.
shit all over itself. Ate its own balls, fell down a hole, however you want to say it. The 13th Warrior.
Was that Richard Donner? Or who? Like
The
there was like
director?
two directors, right?
Let's see. The 13th Warrior was
Or
John McTiernan.
Yeah, John McTiernan. Okay.
The guy that did Die Hard directed this.
Mhm.
Yeah, like they filmed it and then like they had to reshoot a lot of it, and I remember it being just boring. Like that's a film that I thought was boring.
Would that have been the film to sort of derail him from going to be like a big action star? I guess he wasn't really on his way because I'm not sure how well Assassins did for him.
Well, The Master Zorro, that was a
Well,
hit.
That was in between Assassins and 13th Warrior, correct? That had to be, right? That was like 98, I believe, Mask of Zorro.
Yeah, and
90
then
95 would have been Desperado.
then
so-
this was after Master Zorro, so Master Zorro was a hit.
Right.
So he's now getting this role like this, and then this would have derailed it.
But
Absolutely.
then the second Zorro film didn't do good and it wasn't
No.
well received either. So okay.
No.
That explains it.
Yeah, it's like a Viking movie. Antonio Banderas kind of goes into these Vikings, and then you think they're creatures, but they're actually like a tribe of people in these caves, and it just dog
Oh
shit.
yeah. Jackson Jack brings up a good one. You guys remember that one?
What do you
X
say?
versus Sever.
Oh my God, that's like one of
Ballistics.
the that's like a Big Lot special you could get for like $1 at Big Lots, like at any point in time. They were trying to
Yeah.
give those away.
Yeah, I guess that was like right after the second Zorro. So it's like he just had a string of like bad ones like all in a row. Just couldn't have his comeback movie, I guess.
A lot of people actually seem to like the 13th Warrior, so yeah.
Okay.
Teach their own.
I don't know. There are quite a few people that are saying that they liked it. Again, I don't like watching that shit.
It is shit.
Like, I don't need to say it. It's fine. He really did make some bad career choices after.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, get ready for this next couple ones because they're killer too. Anybody remember 1999's Johnny Depp and Charlize Theron? The
That
astronaut.
movie
wife?
should have been good. It should have been good, but it wasn't. It's like the movie that he did. I think it was mid-90s. Was it Nick of Time? With
Yeah.
Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that should have been good, but it wasn't. Like it's the same thing with Astronaut's Wife, where it's like I like the cast. It's got interesting idea. It could actually work and be cool, but they just don't. For some reason, that one just didn't work for me either.
I
Man,
did have
she
the
was so
misfortune.
hot in that.
Yeah, I did have the misfortune of seeing this movie, but man, it does suck. You've got to admit, like it's.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is it the chemistry between the two, or is it just like the I don't know what
I think it's the script is fucking terrible.
yeah.
That's what
It's something about it is really really off.
Well, Johnny Depp is like trying to be like Terry Elwes from The Princess Bride. He's like trying to pretend to be him. And it's like sci-fi Rosemary's Baby. What is that? Oh, put an alien baby in them instead of a devil baby.
I'm glad to see that Wet Movie's in here too, though.
No, you don't. Stop. You don't like. Nobody likes Nick of Time.
I don't mind. I think it's okay.
Everybody's like Nick of Time sucked. Right below that, yeah, I love Nick of Time.
It's watchable, but it could have been better because the director's John Badham, and I think that's who did it, and it could have been better because I like the concept, but I've seen much worse. Like the Astronaut's Wife is worse. Ninth Gate, I think, is worse. That's a boring piece of shit. The Ninth Gate, made by a prick.
Wait, who made the Ninth Gate?
Roman Polanski.
Polanski.
Oh yeah, okay.
A prick.
Yeah,
Fuck
he's
Roman
not-
Polanski.
He's not a great dude by any stretch. Like,
It's a piece of shit.
he's also in the Francis Ford Coppola camp for sure.
Well,
If you know what I mean, and I think you do.
I do.
What do you do?
You ready for a movie that basically was the just nail in the coffin of guy's career? 1999's Dudley Do Right, starring Brendan Fraser, lost $119 million on
Yeah.
a $70 million budget, and basically was the end of Brendan Fraser for a long time.
Yeah, sadly, because then after that, I mean, he did the same year he did The Mummy, and that helped.
I was gonna
him.
say that.
And he did
That's
some
what helped.
sequels,
Mm-hmm.
but then he did Furry Vengeance, and that really killed his career,
Mm-hmm.
where all the animals attack him.
Monkey Bone and
Monkey
I
Bone.
don't know why he was
Wow.
doing stuff like that. Like maybe because it was a lead role, maybe they were paying him a lot for those. I don't know if that was all that was coming his way.
Well, they thought he was like the goofy, quirky guy because George of the Jungle was such a huge hit. So it's like cast him as these cartoonish like characters like Dudley Do Right.
That was
Which-
such a fluke, though.
Wait, when did this movie come out? Because this is another piece of shit. When did
2000
Bedazzled?
or 2001, I want to say. I think it's
Okay, yeah.
2001.
Or 2000. Yeah, I think it was Harold Ramis directed that.
I think so.
He really did a series of horrible fucking movies, if you think about it. Brendan Fraser, I mean. He did George of the Jungle, he did Dudley Do Right, he did Bedazzled. Like he was just on a
Mhm.
trajectory to just fuck up, and he really did. Yeah, I'm glad he
Yeah.
came back. I mean, he's by all accounts like a really nice dude, but I mean, his career just dropped off the face of the earth in the 2000s. Then we've got speaking of like, this is another horrible cartoonish kind of movie. 2000s, The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle. This is a live action / animated film that lost about $112 million
Mhm.
for Universal.
It's not that bad if you like those characters, but no one gave a shit about those characters at that time.
I don't think so. Yeah, there's the biggest problem. Like,
I don't mind it. It's a much lesser Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but I've seen much worse movies. I mean, saw fucking Ninth Gate. I saw fucking shit.
You really hate Ninth Gate, don't you?
But the
Bringing
big
that
question-
I
The big
feel-
question is,
I saw DB Cooper versus Bigfoot. I've seen fucking
you saw Catnado. I mean,
Catnado. Yeah. When you watch films like Catnado, you appreciate certain
it
films
really,
more.
really puts things into perspective when you watch Catnado and Cruel
Yeah,
People.
or Sharks of the Corn. Go watch Sharks of the Corn and Catnado and fucking Seinfeld the porn parody. They'll put these in perspective.
Here's one everybody knows and loves, though. It lost a metric ton of money
Mhm.
and was basically a passion project for one guy and one guy only, and that's John Travolta. 2000's Battlefield Earth. It lost $130 million trying to, bite the tit of Scientology.
Mhm.
Yeah, terrible.
What a
Never-
horrible fucking movie that is.
I don't understand him. Like, I mean, so many movies that like he's turned down actually turned out to be good movies, and then he does shit like Battlefield Earth, and I mean, hell, look at all those fucking direct to DVD movies that he's done. I don't know. He's got such a weird taste. He's a very odd guy.
That was such a dumb plot where I need to get this gold. Just for some reason, aliens want gold.
Yeah.
So let's take the dumb animal and make him smart. Nothing bad could happen by making him smart. What could happen? Let's give this guy a brain. What could happen, guys? Yeah, and every shot is like this.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, they can also fly fighter jets. They're like cavemen, but now they can fly like fighter jets.
His performance in that movie, to me, is very reminiscent of like Nick Cage's performance in the Wicker Man remake. Like it's the same. They're on the same like energy wavelength in both those performances. I'm not sure why, but like they both always remind me of each other. But yeah. So apparently he left Scientology now. Well, good for him. Like, good Lord. I need to go. What is it called? Am I fucking cleansing or what? What do? They clear you or something?
Hell,
Give you shove something up your butt and clear you from all the demons or phantoms or whatever they believe. Bunch of nonsense. Sorry to all my Scientologist friends and viewers. Hopefully there is no Scientology friends or viewers. Then we got I remember this one too, like always being in discount bins. And I think it's just because it looks boring and probably is boring. I've never seen it. 2000's Red Planet with Val Kilmer, which also lost about $111 million.
Yeah, I saw that as a kid. Well, no, teen. I liked it then, but I watched it 10 years ago, and yeah, it's pretty boring. Terry Moss is in it, Tom Sizemore.
Right.
It's a lot of build up to get to Mars. They land, and then it's like they find this like flower patch or something. There's like all these crappy looking bugs that follow them. And like the robot that's like in all the trailers, that's only at like the third act, like the last 15 minutes.
Wait, I think I'm thinking about a different movie.
Mission to Mars?
Yes, that's the one.
Brian
That's
De Palma, yeah.
Is that Don Cheadle in that or?
Yeah, Don Cheadle,
Right,
Gary
okay.
Sinise, Tim Robbins.
Yeah, I
actually
get
like
those
that
mixed
film.
up all the time.
The effects don't hold up in Mission to Mars, but I do like that one. It's sentimental at the end, but I like the cast. But Red Planet, yeah, that one, not too good.
Did they come out around the same time? Or at
Yeah,
least- okay.
because they always do. They always compete. It's like,
Sorry. This would be a killer idea, though. A demonic enema.
I'm surprised they haven't done it yet.
Red Planet. You want to know an even worse bomb that's basically a similar type of movie, though? Somebody actually brought this up. 2000's Titan AE lost $177 million.
That is
Adjusted for inflation, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a shame because I actually really, really do like that film. I would say so far that one of my favorites on this list because it killed the studio. It was Fox Animation. After this, I think it was Don Bluth helped work on it.
Mhm.
It's really cool animation because it's like 2D mixed in with 3D. Hell, what it advertised, it had Creed. Advertised, take it out, till you take me higher.
You know what's wild,
Advertise.
man? Is that movie actually lost more money adjusted for inflation than Pluto Nash?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's one of the bigger, just absolute bombs that's on this list.
I still think that's a gorgeous looking movie with a great soundtrack, and I don't mind the voice cast. Bill Pullman's in it, Nathan Lane.
It's Matt Damon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Matt Damon. Anytime I hear his name, I think about that. I don't know why. Can't help it.
But I would say, for me, that's an underrated one.
Need to rewatch it. I saw it when it came out in the theater. I remembered liking it, but I have not seen it since then. I don't own it either.
This
Well,
comment.
Sally's never been on Blu-ray,
Oh.
which is a shame because there's some gorgeous visuals.
Is the fucking Creed song the actual like?
It's not in the movie; it was in the advertisement.
Oh, okay. Because that's killer. If it.
But the soundtrack is pretty good.
I was going to say they're taking over. They did Scream 3 in 2000, Titan AE.
How in H2O?
Yeah.
All right. I'll skip a couple of these, but this one isn't. I'm surprised this was a bomb. This is really surprising. It wasn't a good movie, but and Will Smith is not good in it. But I'm surprised it bombed this hard. Ali, 2001's Ali, with Will Smith lost $108 million.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't particularly like him in the movie. I
was going to say
did a
that
good
too.
job in the movie. I did see this movie. It's long as shit. Didn't it like 3 hours long too? And
Feels like it.
I don't like biopics anyway, but I really don't like biopics with like, that's kind of actor in a role that requires quite like a bit of emotional depth that I don't think he had at that point in time.
Mm-hmm. I'll agree. I've never been a fan of it. Thought it was way overhyped, and yeah, good on Ali. I'll never see that again.
Yeah.
That was what year? 2001?
2001, yeah.
Okay. Well,
Feels
if you don't, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I just feels like that movie is not that old to me. Like I can still remember when he was hyping it up and everything, but
I know what you mean. I don't think I hated the film, but I never really cared to rewatch it either.
No.
It's not a Michael Mann film I revisit.
I wonder if like Chris Rock goes and watches it to watch him get his ass beat by at the end of the movie.
I know who was it? Was it George Lopez? One of them was I think George Lopez was in that film, and he like tells a story about how Will Smith was just a complete asshole to him and just treat him like shit during the making.
Really?
Yeah, like George Lopez has talked about it, and I think he was supposed to be like not a manager, but somewhere in Ali's corner. But something about like because Will Smith didn't like the actual guy, then he just put that on George Lopez. Like George Lopez tells a lot better than I'm doing, but very interesting interview with George Lopez. He pretty much just shits all over Will Smith about just how much of an asshole he was.
It's weird though, because like, didn't George Lopez cheat on his wife who gave him a kidney? So I mean, he ain't the greatest fucker in the world either.
Right.
God. This is
true.
Okay. Let's skip a couple of these. This movie lost a ton. I don't remember it whatsoever. I never liked these video games anyway, but Final Fantasy The Spirits Within 2001 lost $162 million adjusted for inflation. One of the most expensive video games up until that point, and on a budget of 137 million, it lost $94 million at the time.
Oh, thank you, Matt. By the way, I screwed up. It was Paul Rodriguez.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because I barely remember the film, so I didn't remember who it was. But it was Paul Rodriguez. Yeah, he did the interview about Will Smith. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that this movie probably had like Final Fantasy probably has its share of like defenders because there's a lot of people that love that game and the series and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they wouldn't love that movie because it has nothing to do with the game.
Mm. I've
that,
never seen it. I
that
never gave a
movie,
shit.
that was more of a tech demo. I've seen the film. It was very boring. Alec Baldwin's in it. Thankfully, he didn't kill anyone on that set. And
Jesus.
it's one of those things where it has nothing to do with the game. It has the most generic plot, and it was just a glorified tech demo. I think that killed the animation studio as well. That had it. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of that one. They did one a few years later. I think it was called Advent Children.
yeah, based on the Final Fantasy VII game, but that's actually based on the game. This
Right. That one I liked. Have you seen that one, Matt?
yeah, that was okay.
Yeah, I didn't mind that one, but Spirits Within, fuck that one.
Justin Smith, Mortal Kombat is literally the game except without the gore. But other than that, it's literally the game. It was boring. I agree. Shit movie.
That is sad though for the Final Fantasy contingency.
Well, oh well. Shit happens.
Oh God. I also forgot this movie existed. Monkey Bone, if you will, 2001. It lost $122 million. As a matter of fact, this is killer. So get this, right? It had a budget of $75 million. It made $7 million. God damn.
Jesus.
Oh, Monkey Bone. I can tell Marcus lives need to be more epileptic seizure.
I was looking at that in the background. I'm like, I think that might be too much. Let me make it. Now I'm gonna make it just stay. No flickering effect. I'll be back.
Some little kid just died watching the stream. I don't remember Monkey Bone. I don't care. I do remember this next one though. Osmosis Jones. I know you remember this, Rambo. This was like one of the biggest missteps ever for a live, like animated buddy cop kind of bullshit film. It lost $108 million in 2001.
Yeah, the Farrelly brothers, I think, did the live action parts with Bill Murray, and everyone was just gross. That's all it was, just gross stuff. And it's like Chris Rock and who the hell the other guy was, and the Bloodstream.
Yeah, I've seen that one as well. Saw it in the theater. Don't remember much about that one, honestly.
2001. It stars the voices of Chris Rock, Lawrence Fishburne, David Hyde Pierce, William Shatner, Molly Shannon, Chris Elliott, and Bill Murray are alongside Molly Shannon, Chris Elliott, and Bill Murray in live action roles.
Yeah.
They were in somebody's body or something, right?
Yeah, Bill Murray's body, because he gets sick because he always eats so disgusting. And like everything with Bill Murray is just either a fart joke or a snot joke or anything, which is a waste of Bill Murray. And then with the cartoon stuff, just needed a better script.
It's sad. I love these next two though, man, because like these two were made at almost exactly the same time, and they're widely recognized as being two of the worst films ever made. 2002, The Adventures of Pluto Nash, and then right after it, Ballistic X versus Sever. So Pluto Nash lost $163 million, and Ballistic lost $119 million. Any fond recollections of either one of those movies?
Yeah, they both suck, but
with Pluto Nash, I always remember there was a there's a stop motion show called Robot Chicken, and they had a skit where it was like the day after the execs find out Pluto Nash's box office, and then they all keep jumping off the building. as the figures are coming in, and they're just jumping out the windows
God.
everywhere.
God, man, can you imagine losing that amount? I mean, that's an insane amount of money.
And it's
Yeah.
sad. The director I liked is he did Tremors and City Slickers, and that was just terrible joke after terrible joke. Hillary Clinton money. Oh, Hillary Clinton's on the money. Ain't that funny? And Eddie Murphy was on autopilot. Randy Quaid was annoying as this robot android.
Mhm.
Oh, he's talking funny. Ha ha ha. The twist is like, oh, it's the bad guy is a clone of Eddie Murphy. It's like, who gives a fuck? Just wasn't funny at all.
Yeah, I mean, he was on a downslide for a while there too. I mean, in the 90s. And then I guess the Nutty Professor movie was a hit, but
Yeah,
like,
that's what saved his career, really.
yeah, but then he just went back to doing stuff I just wasn't into, even in the 2000s for the most part.
I didn't mention this after last season.
I never heard of that one.
Yeah.
Destroyed. No one had to hear it.
No. Ballistic X versus Severs. I have what it's basically like the most pointless action movie of all time, really.
Mhm.
Like, just like watching everything happen, but nothing happen at the same time. Like, just you're bombarded by shit and none of it matters at all.
Well, that's directed by a guy named Chaos
Well,
with a K.
there you go.
That's his name, Chaos with a K. I think Norbit was a hit, sadly.
Oh God.
He's always loved fucking Norbit too. That's no joke. What was that other one? He always loved another one too that was like similar but awful.
Wes, you like Norbit? What the fuck?
Loves Norbit.
Love that
Yeah,
Asian Eddie Murphy with the way he talked in that movie as the Asian Eddie Murphy. Jesus Christ.
So I'm gonna skip a couple of these. Some of these are just like whatever. I'll try to find one that really, really. Oh yeah, okay, I found it. Didn't have to look very long. Everybody knows about this movie. It became like the running gag around this time period. 2003's Geely.
Mm.
Yeah.
On a budget of 75 million, it made 7 million, and adjusted today, it would have lost 119 million dollars. That was the original J-Lo, Ben Affleck,
Mhm.
fucking Bennifer
Bennifer, yeah.
bullshit movie that everybody hated. I think I saw it when it came out. I don't remember anything about it, thankfully to God. I think it's
Yeah, I
probably, like,
mean,
trauma related.
yeah. Again, what was it? Pacino's in there.
Mhm.
I think Walken as well.
Mhm.
Like, it's got a decent supporting cast. It's just the story is just fucking. It seems like that they just came up with that. They wanted Affleck and Lopez in the same movie. They wanted them to star in it.
I
And
remember this too.
what's that?
Oh,
yeah.
hmm
Oh man.
I think Mark Brest directed who did Beverly Hills Cop.
That's fucking sad.
Yeah, I
that
think
was
he did.
him.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Definitely killed his career.
Yeah.
The
What do
plot
y'all
is kind of
think? I'm
Yeah, go
curious
ahead.
though. What do y'all think about just in general J-Lo? Because I fucking can't stand her. Like, she's one of my other. Add
she's
her
not
to the Maggie Gyllenhaal, Katherine Heigl list of people that I absolutely cannot stand.
It depends on the role. I'm
Yeah.
fine. I'm fine with her in Anaconda. I liked The Cell.
I was going to say that
That was
too.
coming out. But I can't remember the last film she was in I cared about, to be
Matt,
honest.
you know you love Angel Eyes. Come on.
I've never seen fucking Angel Eyes. But like, I mean, Anaconda, The Cell I liked. What was the one? She was the singer who passed away. She
Oh,
was
Selena.
yeah, I thought she was fine in that. Out of Sight.
Mhm.
I didn't mind with George Clooney. Steven Soderbergh, I believe, did it.
Yeah. I forget
Yeah.
about that one.
Earlier on, it's just that when she got embellished with the singing and then thinking like her shit don't stink, I think that's where she got worse.
She just seems like the biggest fuck face ever, though. Just seemed like somebody you would not want to be around to me at
Apparently,
all.
apparently that's the truth. So I agree with that.
It's like Ellen. Those two remind me of each other. Like just people that you know, like if you were around them, they would just act like the biggest fucking douches.
She left the U.S., so you don't have to worry about her now.
Good.
Ellen.
Fucking. Oh, did Ellen leave? Good.
Yeah. Thank God.
She's running Abu Ghraib now, is she?
Yeah. Yeah. Money Train. Yeah, with J-Lo. I like that one.
OCP
Yeah.
says, just want to stop by and show support. Also, have you seen The Pest? Fucking shit. You got to come in here and bring up the John Leguizamo movie you made. Unfortunately, I have seen that movie.
It's a classic.
I never, ever want to see anything to do with that guy.
That needs to be a live commentary. I'm telling you. You and CK. Why not? It'd be epic.
Torture. It'd be fucking torture.
That's why it would be great.
Jesus.
But yeah, no, J-Lo and Money Train, I always forget about that. But she's kind of just like barely in it, but she's fine. She's tolerable, you know.
Yeah.
She's just the side love interest character.
So, let's see. Good God in heaven. Let's see what another one is here that would be. Oh, fuck these movies. I didn't know this movie was a bomb. I would have never guessed that. So, 2004's The Chronicles of Riddick
Mm-hmm.
with
Yeah.
Vin Diesel. It lost anywhere between $76 to $118 million, depending on what the budget was. And I guess they don't really know. But that's the sequel to Pitch Black. I didn't know that was a bomb at
Mhm.
all. Apparently, it
Yeah.
was.
They were wanting to do like a whole, I think, trilogy based on that movie. That was going to be like their new Star Wars. It didn't work. I mean, I like Pitch Black. That film, I watched that again a year or two ago. That film fucking sucks. And it's just like, it waters things down. It turns into such generic shit. It loses any of its intensity. It gives him a stupid backstory where he's from a planet and he's got some fucking superpower, like how you do, and just explodes or something. Whatever the hell he does.
What did he do? One more time. Hold on.
I don't know. Like, it's like he gets so powerful and he does this energy blast thing every once in the movie, and I'm like,
Does he? I don't remember that. I haven't seen. Now, granted, I haven't seen it in a long time, but I don't.
he's from like
remember
a race of people, Fury, not Furiosa.
Furries.
Yeah, he's a furry. He's very that shit. But yeah, that's a film I should have liked. That I just Carl Urban's in it. I'm not a fan. It just very generic, very boring.
Didn't he come back for the third one as well? Carl?
Yeah, and it was just a remake of the Pitch Black. He's on a planet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He kills creatures. It's like literally just a remake of Pitch Black. So what's the point?
That's the thing, though. It's like I like Pitch Black, but like that one was not a big hit or anything. As from what I remember, like it made its money back, but like almost barely. So it was like a moderate success. So I don't even know why they put all this money into the second film and thinking like it's going to launch.
Fast and Furious had come out, and that was a huge hit. And they thought Vin Diesel was the next big action star.
I can see that. Okay.
So they're going to make this their own Star Wars.
Jericho. Ah, shit.
At this point, Vin Diesel's probably got the Jericho heat.
He really does, to me anyway.
Yeah. I like Carl Urban. I liked him in Dread. But Vin Diesel, he can't find a hit.
No, what was the one that he did like a few years ago? It was based off the comic.
Bloodshot.
Bloodshot, yeah. That
That
was
was
Bloodshot, if you will.
was really bad too.
and the Last Witch Hunter.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I agree with this statement though. Like that might be one of the only movies I actually like Vin Diesel. It was a fucking small part that he had in Saving Private Ryan. Nobody knows it's him.
What about what was it? Babylon AD?
Yeah,
The other
Yeah.
one?
I saw in the theater, Sally.
It was not good at all.
No.
It was fucking terrible.
All right, so there's a string of movies here that I want to talk about because they're hilarious. Another one in
Mhm.
2005 that lost $122 million just would be Triple X State of the Union. Do you remember this one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like the first Triple X though. I don't.
Well, the
have a
first Triple
problem.
X has Ozzy Argento, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
what's not to like? But then after that,
I thought you didn't like Argento.
oh, I don't like her.
Okay. Okay.
That doesn't have anything to do with it.
Gotcha.
I don't want to sit down and have a fucking cup of tea with her or anything.
Yeah, they wanted to make Ice Cube and Action Star. Willem Dafoe, I believe, is the villain.
Mhm.
I think it's the same guy who directed Die Another Day, that James Bond movie where he's on the
Mm.
invisible
yeah.
car,
Mhm.
the invisible car in the fucking ice fortress. Yeah, it wasn't that good of a movie.
No.
Bless, there's some fucking horrible stuff that's getting ready to come out here that we're going to talk about.
But yeah, Ice Cube was not the guy for that role. I mean,
Yeah.
that's amongst the many problems with that movie. Yeah.
It's got Rammstein. Rammstein. How do you pronounce it?
They do perform at the at the beginning of the first one. I remember that.
I don't know if it's on this list, but I definitely will mention Rollerball remake.
Oh,
Just
it's on the
Mm,
fucking
okay.
list. Yeah.
Mhm.
I was gonna say Ghost of Mars, I thought was better than Triple X State of the Union. I'll stand by that. I'll stand by it.
So anybody, some of these man just came and went like, and this is a sequel to a movie that did amazingly well. And considering like who's in it, you'd think it would have done at least fairly decent. Evan Almighty in 2007, starring Steve Carell as the sequel to Bruce Almighty. Lost $128 million. Have either one of y'all seen that? Because I never even bothered watching that movie.
I've seen
Yeah.
parts of it, but never all the way through. But the parts that I did see, it didn't look good. I don't even really like Bruce Almighty that much. I mean, it's all right. That was a film where like cool concept, and had they really went for like a hard R, like they could have done all kinds of crazy shit. But knowing how Jim Carrey is, he probably wasn't going to be into anything like that. But yeah, I didn't think the first one was that great, so I never expected the sequel to be good.
Yeah, in the sequel, it's about pretty much a take on Noah's Ark because he's getting all these animals and stuff. And I know people liked his big role in Bruce Almighty. I don't think he deserved his own film. And Steve Carell's not really a box office star.
Mm-mm.
He was never showcased as a box office star, and maybe some people liked him on The Office, but TV and movies are a very different format. So,
Mm-hmm. And I mean, 40-Year-Old Virgin, he's never had anything that big since. So, like, that was very much lightning in a bottle. We were mentioning that earlier. That's totally a one-off type thing.
Tell me y'all remember this because I'd forgotten it. This is another one that like is a trip down memory lane. 2008 Speed Racer.
Yeah.
Lost $125 million. Who the fuck called for a Speed Racer like reboot at
You
that
know
time?
what?
The studio wanted it bad.
After seeing it, I call for it because I like that fucking movie. I saw that again a year or two ago.
Mhm.
It just looks so cool visually. Yeah, Robert Kirby, actually, you requested it. Yeah. It's fun. It's like a visual LSD.
Mhm.
It was so visually interesting to watch. that it was. I really give them credit for it. Like I thought they really. It was. How do I put it? It was cartoon cocaine, and I kind of appreciate it for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I never watched Speed Racer the cartoon, but it was so visually insane that I appreciate its energy, and it was really creative. And I've seen a lot of fucking boring movies, especially the 50 Marvel films out nowadays. That when I rewatched that, it was like Jackson Jack is better than his free throws. Don't say that. Shaquille O'Neal's rap album.
They probably fucking did. They probably did. Nobody knows who that is exactly.
Who did the cinematography on that? Do you remember? It couldn't have been Bill Pope. That didn't look like him.
On what?
Speed Racer.
Oh yeah, I'd have to look it up.
Okay.
I'll bet it was.
I mean, most of it's David Tattersall, who did.
Okay. Yeah, I just remember the visuals and that, like, I mean, not looking anything like what I was expecting it to. And I'm not sure if at the time I even knew that it was Bill Pope or not. But yeah, I mean, that much I do remember liking. I just don't remember the movie, like what it's about. It's been a long time.
I think this next one probably suffers from the fate of like no movie named this has ever done worth a shit since the original, and they've tried to do it at least 10 different times. 2010's The Wolf Man with Benicio del Toro and Anthony Hopkins lost $106 million. Like, it's not a bad movie. It's not, I mean, it is a bad movie, but it's not a horrible movie. Like, it doesn't deserve to lose that much money. Like, it should have at least broke even. It's just there. It just kind of exists. At least it has like, you know, some practical effects and gore and shit like that in it, but you can't make a Wolfman movie. I wish people would like stop doing that. Once every about 5 years, somebody tries to make the Wolfman popular again. I don't know why. Yeah,
they're doing it.
They are.
I don't know why they do it, or they try to do it. Like they don't do that shit with like Frankenstein or anything. Like nobody goes out and tries to make a Frankenstein movie anymore, but they do for the Wolfman.
Well, there's 2 coming out.
What? Frankenstein movies?
Mm-hmm. Your buddy Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Nobody counts that bullshit, Mark.
And then the Mia Goth one as well, which I think is Del Toro. So
Is she gonna be jerking off Frankenstein while he's trying to be
I don't know why the Wolfman cost that much in the first place.
I don't either. I mean, I guess the
cast salary.
Cast, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's a super chat here from Hopium. I think if Dread was released today, it'd get more hype and fanfare and probably wouldn't have bombed.
I don't know, because no one really knows that character in the U.S. And the last time people saw that character was Stallone's film, which didn't get a lot of beloved status. So I think it still would have bombed. It's just a lot of people finally saw the film and went, hey, this is actually pretty damn good. I saw it in the theater. It was a great experience in 3D and was a favorite of mine. So I think it still would have bombed. It's just no one knows who the fuck Judge Dredd is in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
That's another one that's got some cool visuals when they take the drug
slow-mo.
Yeah. A lot of those sequences are really cool looking.
Mama's not the law.
He was. That's one of the biggest problems with that movie is he was a CGI Wolfman. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rick Baker did work on it. So
he did. Yeah.
Why you would do that?
And they were like, "Get out of here, Rick Baker, you old piece of shit!
We
got a computer.
They redid
the computer took your job, baby."
They did that with the Theme prequel. They had practical and they just redid everything with CGI.
Wasn't that I Am Legend as well? Didn't they do that with that too?
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure it was.
God, I hope that movie fucking bombed. I hope that's on this list somewhere.
I know. I think that actually made a lot of money.
No, that
No,
that didn't bomb.
no, I don't believe you. Okay,
You don't have to believe it.
a movie that probably suffers from one of the worst names of all time. I think that's probably what hurt this movie a lot. Was 2011's Cowboys and Aliens, and it
Yeah.
bombed, losing about $100 million roughly.
Well, I think that's what everybody said. It was the title, but it's a more serious movie than the title suggests. Again, I actually really do like that film. It's a Jon Favreau movie.
Yep.
Mhm.
Harrison Ford. It's got a good supporting cast. Jon Favreau filmed it beautifully like a Western, and he used as much practical as he could. And I actually like Daniel Craig in it. Yeah, I like that film. I don't know what title you would have given it.
There
But
has to
yeah.
be something better than
Yeah.
that. That's like one of the worst movie titles of all time.
Yeah, people, it's hard to sell someone on that.
You just hear that and you automatically don't want to see it. It's like, ugh. Fucking- And now
Yeah.
we're going to get into an interesting era too, because studios are making so many superhero movies at this point that you've got the inevitable, like ones that just shit the bed. Like
Mhm.
almost every year, you'll have at least one or two that are awful. And the first one that I've found on here that really loses like a ton of money is 2011's Green Lantern. With I remember seeing this. I was like, this may have been one of the movies that turned me completely against superhero movies, especially DC. Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively. It lost around 100 to 120 million dollars. It
Mhm.
is one of the most just boring, awful, nothing fucking movies ever made. I'll tell you another one that sucks ass too. I don't know if it's on this list or not. Is not the Green Lantern, but the Green Hornet. That's another one that fucking I hate.
Yeah.
Man,
With
damn, I forgot that happened.
yeah, man.
Seth
Seth
Rogen.
Rogen. It's like
Yeah.
awful, awful movie. I hope it ends up on here, but I doubt it. But yeah, Green Lantern, Ryan Reynolds, not good. At least he
Mhm.
found Deadpool and kind of got over it. But
Yeah, he kills himself in Deadpool 2 when he's reading the script for Green Lantern. That's the best scene.
Yeah, you're right. Most superhero movies are bad. That was the worst of the bunch. I'd rather watch Green Hornet than Green Lantern. Yep.
Mm.
That might be on here. That's another one. It's got to be on here. I haven't got to it yet, but yeah,
Oh yeah, Jonah Hex.
Green Lantern was always going to bomb. It looked unappealing. It was unappealing. Pretty much everybody hates this movie, so I'm glad they do. 'Cause, like, all right. Then we go to. Don't want to talk about that one. I guess because it's a Scorsese film. Hugo, 2011, Martin Scorsese directed. Lost
Never
around
saw it.
$123 million.
Never saw Hugo.
Never saw it either.
I don't mind it. I mean, it's not the typical Scorsese thing, but you know, I guess. And that was 2011, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like what else would have come out around that time and why it would have lost so much money. I mean, they spent so much money on it, though. I don't know. I mean, I would say it's not a deserving bomb, but like, you know, that's a lot of money on a movie like that from Scorsese.
Scorsese attempts to do a children's film that's about film history.
Yeah, like it's interesting, but it just I don't know how many people you're really going to even draw in.
Mhm.
I like this comment came in late just out of nowhere. Oh, fuck up the Green Hornet. Yeah, he did, unfortunately. I'm glad he got away from that eventually, too. He started to get into like technology and shit. So moving from Hugo, does it? I forgot this existed. It's so killer though. What a name! 2011's Mars Needs Moms. from Disney. It lost 135 almost to 190 million dollars.
Yeah, awful film.
Oh, you didn't like Mars Needs Moms?
No.
Somebody's gonna have you review that film, but it'll be a porn soon.
Mars needs animals.
Mars needs MILFs. That'll be the one you have to review.
If that's a movie, I'm blaming you for it.
It probably is.
Oh God.
The next one though is a movie I actually really like. It's probably like somebody asked me like, what's like one of your guilty pleasure movies? This is a long time back. And I completely forgot about this, but this is one of my guilty pleasure movies, and it lost almost $200 million. 2012's Battleship. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance, but I do like this movie. It's fucking stupid. It's a big action film. I don't know why they thought it would be a good idea to make an action film out of Battleship.
Me neither.
But there it is.
Not for me. The inciting incident isn't like a breakfast burrito. Somebody got to steal breakfast burrito or something at the
How
store.
dare you?
Isn't it though? At the beginning?
Yeah, well, I mean that's the beginning of the movie, goddamn. You're gonna focus on that there shit blowing up all through that movie.
So what is it about that but not Transformers or other stuff? Isn't that like Transformers? I've seen the film, it wasn't for me.
I don't
but-
you know what? Transformers is one of those movies that's like to me is just there.
Okay.
Like it's kind of like watching Phil Collins or something. Like it's just I mean, I don't hate it, but it's like I don't get anything out of it. I just it's kinda like,
Okay.
you know, it just kind of exists.
So did you see it in the theater, Battleship?
No, I didn't see it until years later. And actually,
Okay.
I watched it with my dad the first time,
Oh, okay.
and he really liked it for some fucking odd ass reason. I don't know, maybe that kind of like maybe him being pumped up about it like rubbed off on me and skewed my vision of it. But I don't know. I just always liked that movie.
Does have
What do you-
ACDC in it.
What do you guys think of him as a director? We don't really talk about him that much.
Peter Bird?
Peter
Yeah.
Berg, yeah.
Depends.
Me
I love-
personally, I like the I guess first 5-6 movies quite a bit. But
Oh Jesus Christ!
I mean, the latter half of his career, every fucking
I'm
thing
looking at his I'm looking at his
it's
film.
all starring Mark Wahlberg, and I don't know where that connection came about, where they're like became buddies.
Because,
But
okay, for example, I like The Kingdom with Jamie Foxx.
yep,
Yeah.
I thought that was a good take place in.
You like Copland? His ass was in Copland, but I mean he didn't direct it, but he was just in it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Love Copland.
Let's see, what did he direct?
Very Bad Things would have been his first.
The Rundown. Is that the Rock one?
Yeah.
Okay. Fucking directed Hancock. God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where it started to go. I was like,
Uh,
all right, I'm losing interest. Which I know that script was originally supposed to be really hard R. It was supposed to be crazier than what it was, but then it got toned down and warped into like this PG-13 shitty Will Smith vehicle.
Let me ask you this though, Mark. Did you like Spencer Confidential?
See, that's another Mark Wahlberg one. Like, I don't know where that connection came about. Where it's like, because if you go back, I'm pretty sure what was it? Is it Mile 22?
Mile 22 in 2018. Yeah.
That's another one. It's
Patriots
Wahlberg.
Day.
It probably
Wahlberg.
started. It probably started with Lone Survivor. Which was a
Deepwater
big hit.
Horizon. He does a lot of Wahlberg movies. You're right.
That's
Lone
what I'm saying.
Survivors,
It's
man.
like, yeah, Very Bad Things. I don't mind. Although it's
yeah.
a dark comedy, but I still like the cast and it's fun enough. Rundown, Friday Night Lights. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Kingdom, like you said, Matt, is really good. That's
But
probably
Mark-
his best, in my opinion.
But Mark, what do you think of Battleship?
I'm good on Battleship. I mean, it's there. Like
Good
I
on
don't.
Battleship.
I don't need to watch it. Yeah, I like I said, first half of his career is pretty interesting, but then like those Wahlberg movies, I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's no Congo. Let's face it.
Not much is.
That's right.
But hey, you do have Battleship. I do have Congo. So there you
That's
go.
right. Now here's a movie that everybody knows lost a whole like basically studio money. John Carter, man,
Oh man,
that when that
fucking
movie came out, it was like, first of all, nobody knew what it was about. I remember that nobody understood the name. It had no context. It just came out, and people were supposed to just go to it based on absolutely nothing, and it just like nobody cared. That's the main thing I remember about that. Like nobody looked at that movie and was like, "I'm excited to see that." Nobody knew anything about it, and they didn't care.
Just the thing, I mean, for some who may not know, it was called John Carter Mars, the source material, and so many movies and stuff ripped that novel off. So by the time it took so long to get it, when you make it the film, it feels like the movies that ripped off the book. So it didn't seem like anything original. And then isn't the same guy who's in Battleship in John Carter? Taylor Kish? I think it's the same guy because they try to make him a star and he had like a couple big bombs.
I can't see who the fuck's in it.
I'm sure it was. I think it was him. Either way,
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that movie is not good.
The same
I know.
year,
I just had no desire to ever see that movie.
Yeah. I remember a friend of mine went to go see it and he was all hyped up and he's like, "Oh, the visuals and it's gonna be this great epic." And he was like, "This fucking piece of shit." He was so mad when he came back. He's like, "Oh, the cinematography, everything about it, like it was bland." And I agree. Bland looking, boring, just nothing there.
Now, did you know the source, the book it was based on, Mark?
I had heard about it. I haven't read it or anything.
Because I don't know if you can make that today and make it good with all the stuff that was stolen from it.
Yeah, I could kind of see that. But then it begs the question, why even try? Like, what?
Nah, that's what I was trying to figure out. Like there's no context for that movie, man. Like to come out at that time period.
Well, the reason they didn't, it was a stupid reason. They said, well, we're not going to put Mars in it because any movie where Mars is bombed. Like that was the reason, like Mars Attacks, Mission to Mars.
I mean, I could
Mars
see
Needs
that,
Moms.
yeah, as like a studio, but just to put it out with a name that nobody fucking knows what it is also like a horrible idea. Clearly, like, it has no name recognition. The only thing you've got is that name to go by.
It just came out as very bland, very generic of a movie.
I'm gonna skip a couple to get to one that I didn't realize was probably one of the biggest bombs on this list, man. I didn't know it lost this much money. Huge failure. Johnny Depp and Armie Hammer, the cannibal himself, the Lone Ranger from 2013 lost, get this, anywhere between $209 to $250 million.
Yeah.
Another Tarantino favorite.
God almighty.
Yeah, I saw that. It's like 3 hours long or almost.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, remember when Armie Hammer was texting women saying he wanted to eat them?
I do.
And then not in the way you're thinking. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
literally wanted to.
Those texts were
cannibalize
taken out of context.
Were they? What context? What does that mean?
Man, eat them.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. But it does have like a fun action scene in the third act where there's all these like dueling trains where they're going from one train to the other. And I think that's what most of the budget went to. But it didn't know what tone it was. It's like it's a goofy kids film, but then William Fichtner's eating people's hearts. Like, take your hearts out.
See,
eat
I
it.
kind of felt the same way about Dark Shadows. Like, I feel like that movie didn't know what the fuck it wanted to be either. Like, it wanted to be a comedy, it wanted to be serious. It didn't
Yeah.
never really settle on anything.
And the Lone Ranger is an idiot in the movie. He's like a goof. He's incompetent. So it's like this is all Johnny Depp. As Tonto.
That's the thing. That's another guy where it's like I liked a couple of his movies, Gore Verbinski, but I've never been big into his stuff anyway. So I probably went into that thinking it wasn't going to be good.
2013's R.I.P.D. You remember that one?
Sally, wannabe Men in Black.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We'll skip past that one and then go to a film series that never is successful, but they keep doing it. 2015's Fantastic Four lost roughly $130 million. How many movies have they tried to make Fantastic Four movies? They just never work.
Well, a fifth one now coming out next year.
Give it a fucking break, man. Like that, something about that just does not translate well.
I mean, that one, like, Chronicles okay, but like that had a ton of turmoil on the set from I think it was Miles Teller not getting along with with Josh Trank on the set. Apparently he hated him, and it's like if you hate your lead actor with a passion and you can't even work with him without arguing, your movie's probably not going to be good anyway. But I mean, it started before that. That script sucked. The casting was off. It just everything about it was bad.
Pedro Pascal's in the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, there's Reed Richards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh shit, that's gonna be the end of his career.
I think with Fantastic Four, that one, it's not a great movie. I like the idea of trying to make it a body horror film, and I see a little bit of that. I just wish they went all the way for me. But I never read a Fantastic Four comic, so like it was such a wild idea. I kind of wish he would have been allowed to go all the way through it, and I think that would have been more interesting for me as a viewer. Because I just see elements there, but you do tell there was a lot of behind the scenes shenanigans.
Well, that's the problem too, though. Like, I don't think he was a fan, or maybe he didn't read any of the comics. How do you take one of the best Marvel villains, arguably the best Marvel villain, with Doctor Doom, change his name, change everything about him, and he's just some fucking guy that looks like a wimp, and if you cough on him, he'll fall over.
It's okay, Martha. They'll get Robert Downey Jr.
I'll take that over that fucking guy they had in the movie.
Yeah, they're really up his ass about it right now. All right, so I'm gonna do this one and then skip down a bunch because there's a bunch of movies on here that there's just way too many bombs on here.
Yeah,
but this one is one that I think the title and everything and the fact that who produced it also killed it. 2015, Jupiter Ascending with a fucking Channing Tatum and Mila Kunis. It lost about $150 million.
Never saw that one. Never cared to see.
No, that title alone just makes me never want to fucking see that movie.
What's wrong with the title?
Anything. Look.
What the fuck does it mean?
What does it number? Yeah, what does it mean? And don't put a planet. When has that ever worked?
It's about Jupiter ascending.
Jupiter, Mars, fucking Saturn. If you put a planet in a movie title, you're fucked. I just want you to know that. Venus. If there's
it's got planet, Sean Bean in it, so you know it's good.
Bean. Yeah. Yeah, he did wonders for that Hitcher remake.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah, he was in that part. Remember that?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Okay, so let's skip down some because there's a ton of stuff on here.
Mark loves Silent Hill.
No.
Fucking hell, I hope not.
Sean Bean.
I forgot that they did. Did they do this? They did I guess they did. Oh, the Tom Cruise Mummy. Yep. Jesus Christ, I forgot about that. from
So
2017.
terrible.
Yep.
Lost about 100 million on average.
Kill that whole Dark Universe thing they were going to do.
Yep.
And they ripped off an American Wolf in London. He's got like a dead friend that keeps coming back more and more decomposed. So they ripped off American Wolf in London.
What a horrible idea. Here's another horrible idea for a movie, man. 2018's just out of nowhere, Robin Hood with Jamie Foxx. And oh my God. What the fuck made him think Robin Hood just out of nowhere would be a good idea in the middle of like 2018, 2019?
I have no
know.
idea. I mean, they keep trying to do movies like that. I just don't think that stuff's going to connect with the audiences of today. It's maybe back in the 90s, you could have gotten away with it early 2000s, but not now. It's just, I don't think people give a fuck about that kind of stuff anymore.
No. This one's hilarious, though. I don't know if either one of you all have ever seen this film. It was like a huge punchline for this entire year of 2019. And I've seen some of it just because of how funny it is and the fact that they did it.
Mm.
But 2019's Cats. The fucking
Yeah, I've seen it.
live action, or it's not live action, but how do you explain that, Rambo? Like,
It's
it's
as live.
computer generated, but like,
It's as live action as the Lion King remake is live action.
yeah. Good God.
Well, yeah, I did see it. It was shit. I
Yes,
like Cats,
Jamie-
but not them.
Jamie Foxx was in a Robin Hood movie. No, he wasn't Robin Hood, I don't think, but he was in it.
No, he was. I can't remember. But I know it's a popular play. It was very successful on stage. But the way that was done and the way they did with the CGI, it was never going to work. It's like, what was that biopic coming out on Robbie Williams? Better Man. Did you hear about that?
Mm.
But it's, you know, the scene of Robbie Williams?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a biopic, but instead of him, it's a Monty as him talking. Everybody else is human, but he wanted to be quirky enough, so it's his character. It's him, but it's a Monty.
Listen, you lost me at biopic. I don't even give a shit after that. Like,
There
whatever.
you go.
But the fact there's a monkey in it and like talking is no. I'm good.
It's Robbie Williams as the Monty, his life, but told as a Monty.
Nah, I'm fine. I'll pass.
You
Dark
should.
Phoenix, somebody brought that up. Dark Phoenix came out in 2019. It was also a huge bomb. It lost about 150 million. Another of the superhero movies. And then you've got, this should be an interesting conversation. 2019's Terminator Dark Fate lost anywhere between 130 to 150 million dollars. And rightfully fucking so, by the way.
Yeah, one of the worst Terminator movies ever. I have a hard time believing that he ever thought that that was a great script, that it was going to work in any way, shape, or form. Why would you? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, did either one of y'all like any of those Terminator movies, like Genesis and Dark Fate and Salvation? And I mean,
I don't mind Salvation. I could watch that one, but yeah, that's probably the only one after 2 that I could stand to watch. Because all the other movies, like Genesis, what fucking idiot is like, okay, I'm going to take scenes from the 84 film and I'm going to try to recreate those. Nobody's going to like that. Come on. Dark Fate was ridiculous and stupid all the way around. Terrible ideas on top of terrible ideas. Terrible characters.
You're just sexist and racist, Mark. That's why you don't like Dark Fate.
yeah, Mark.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's why I've been told. This is why I don't like it. Dark
No,
Fate.
it's
Yeah, go ahead.
no. I mean, you go.
No, go for it.
It's awful. I mean, there's nothing good about it. I mean,
What was your
I-
reaction when John Connor got shot in the face?
Well, I mean, I had known that it was coming because I had looked up the spoilers for it, or it was either that or maybe my friend told me because he had seen it before me, and he was just like, "You're not gonna like it. Don't waste your time. Don't go
He was
see
right.
it." And I'm like, "Why? It can't be that bad. It can't be worse than the last one." And he's like, "Well, I think it might be," and it was. I mean, killing John Connor, you commit the cardinal sin.
It could always be worse.
Could it be? I don't know.
I
think
mean,
it's-
here's the thing. I did not
Pretty
read. I did not read that. So I went into that cold, not knowing that was going to happen. And when it happened, I was like, "What in the fuck? Like, what a decision, man!" After
Mhm.
all these movies and leading up to that, and that's what they want to do. Like, and the way that it was done too is just so like matter of fact and brutal. And I was like, "Oh fuck!" Like after that, you're just like, "I don't want to watch the rest of this movie." Like,
Maybe I could have went with it if they had replaced him with a better character, but they didn't. It was a
No.
character that was infinitely worse and way more forgettable, and just it was pointless. I didn't even think a lot of the effects were that great. Wasn't there like a squid Terminator or some shit like in one
I
of
just
those?
didn't. Most time they do the de-aging shit, I hate it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like it always looks ridiculous to me. Like it's still not perfected at all. Like to this day, when I see it, you just automatically know when you see that it's fake. They did it in The Irishman and it looked fucking fake as fucking that. Like I just hate that whole process. I mean, The Irishman's a good movie and everything, but like it just your brain it just takes me out of the movie when I see stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
What about you, Matt? You just shaking your head.
Everything that you said, it was the Mexican Terminator. It was
The Mexinator.
it was we don't kill John Connor, but then Skynet is gone. But then there's another Skynet, and there's another someone to save the universe, save the world, save the human race. Just replace like that. Like you find them in the bottom of a cereal box. You need another savior? Sure, look at this cereal box. Here's another savior. You just pick them. It's that easy.
Just start Googling names. Just pick somebody.
So John Connor really didn't mean anything. Because it's like, you got a dozen, one threw away, you got 11 more. I'm sure she died, there'll be another 10 more. And Arnold was like was he a cleaner or window dresser?
He hung drapes.
Yeah.
Of course he did.
Forgot what his name was in that too. It was stupid. Arnold was embarrassing in that. And
that's the worst thing he's ever done. I have to say that's probably the worst thing he's ever done. When you look at that's what it was, yeah. When you look at that character and it's like that's supposed to be the character that killed John Connor and accomplished the mission. That's the end all be all T-800.
By the way, Mark, do you remember the no pity, no fear, but now he has pity? Like he like
exactly
no pity. No, like the whole thing Michael Bean said in the first movie. Nah, he's got pity. He's got no remorse, no pity.
Yeah, he talks about changing babies' diapers. You see him in a scene rubbing a dog. And it's just like it's horrible. It's everything you don't want Terminator to be.
Patting the maid on the ass.
Right.
Which one's worse, Genesis or Dark Fate?
Ooh.
That's like, I want to be punched in the face, or do I want to be punched in the face? I don't want to be punched in the face.
Maybe Dark Fate.
Yeah, they're both really, really bad. I will put Dark Fate just for the opening alone as the slight edge. Yeah. And Linda Hamilton comes back and it was just disappointing, and she just did not look good. I like Linda Hamilton, but she didn't look good in that. That was And what was it like? She's like bitching about she never got recognition, like as Sarah Connor's like,
Yeah, I remember that. But
Yeah.
I mean, she's also kind of out there too. What from all things that I've heard about her though, like she's actually a pretty decent person to meet
oh yeah,
and like to be around and stuff like that. But
I
she
just know
has
like,
some out there
yeah.
takes at times too. She kind of goes off on the deep end, I think.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I meant like her character in the
Oh yeah.
movie was like, oh man, you know, people as if like she was mad that her son was getting recognition and she wasn't or something of Sarah
Mhm.
Connor. I remember that. I'm like, that's not Sarah Connor. I don't know who this person is, but it's a poser.
Right. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. That whole that Comic-Con panel they did was the funniest shit I've ever seen. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
No.
Where it's
Mm-mm.
Linda Hamilton and the director Tim Miller, and somebody in the audience asked them a question, but it was pertaining to Cameron, and then Tim Miller was like, "Go ahead, Linda, you could take it." And she was like, "No, I think you got it." And he's like, I don't know. You know Cameron better than I do. You were sleeping with him." And the whole audience was like,
God.
"Oh my God. Like, why did you just say that?" It was the funniest thing ever. You should get the guys go look that clip up. It's hilarious.
There's a ton of really horrible shit, by the way. Does anybody remember Doolittle from 2020 with Robert Downey Jr.? A lot of people don't even realize that he made
Yeah.
that movie.
Yeah.
Lost a ton of money. Then you got Mulan. You'll notice a pattern here with these movies shortly. We're into the 2020s now with Disney. Mulan loses $166 million. Onward loses $153 million. Wonder Woman 1984 loses about 120 to 160 million dollars. Space Jam, remember that?
New Legacy, LeBron James.
That
Space
loses
Jam.
like 125 million.
What was funny about that is that they canceled Pepe Le Pew because he's so awful, but then in the background you see Alex and the Clockwork Orange people hanging out because they're okay to be in the movie, but Pepe Le Pew is too much. You know.
Fucking shit, man. Like some of these movies. The Suicide Squad. I didn't realize that was a bomb, but it lost 135 million. The 2021 Suicide
Oh,
Squad.
the James Gunn one. That was actually a fun one. Stallone was a voice in that. Yeah, Idris Elba. Yeah, I like that one.
It's funny, like he did that bomb, and then they're like, "Okay, you can run the studio stuff. Go ahead and run DC."
That wasn't a bad movie though, man. That's the weird part about it. Like, relatively speaking,
Well,
to the shit that's been on this list.
because the previous one was that Will Smith one, and I think that
Mhm.
left a bad taste in people's mouths. So like, I don't want to see another one, but this was better. Sad, you know, it's how it goes. Yeah, I agree. The first one deserved a flop, but Sally.
I wish that they were fed up with superhero movies, but they're not.
Yeah, they'll keep going. You got
Mhm.
Superman, you got Fantastic Four, you got that stuff next year.
Ron James graces his presence. The House Party remake too.
I was thinking
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, they are garbage, but they just keep getting made because they keep making tons of money.
Well, not many of them are nowadays.
You know one that didn't make tons of money, Rambo?
What's
Black
that?
Adam.
Oh man.
Jeez,
2022, it lost about $104 million, even with the Rock's ass on there promoting the hell out of it.
it deserved a bomb.
I'll never see that movie. I'll just go ahead and tell you. Like, it has everything in it that I never want to see. Being
Well, why
The
would you?
Rock and woke Disney and like, I just don't.
It's got Pierce Bronson in it, buddy. You better watch
Well,
it.
that's
one thing that's actually like I might. But
that's the other companies, not Disney. That's Warner Brothers screwed.
I was
up.
at. Oh, sorry, that's Warner Brothers.
Don't worry, they're stupid too.
And then let's see. You
Wonder if he pissed
got
in bottles on that movie.
dude. I don't even remember this movie coming out. I thought this was just like something that was still in development, but Pixar's Lightyear,
Yep.
Oh,
Buzz
it came out.
Lightyear,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Chris
that lost
Evans.
like
Came and went. Nobody
hundreds of
cared.
million. No, I don't even remember it.
Yep. Chris Rock replaced Tim Allen in that.
But
I
the
mean,
one,
Chris Evans. Chris Evans.
the one that lost the most money, except for one other one we're going to talk about here in a second, around this time period was 2022's Strange World, also a Disney movie.
Hmm.
It lost $205 million.
God, like all these fucking bombs from Disney. How are they not out of money?
You ready for another one? Turning Red, if you remember that one. That was a Pixar one, lost $174 million, same year. The Flash in 2023, The Flash lost $155 million. The Haunted Mansion in 2023 lost $117 million. So you see the pattern I was talking about earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Like all
Yeah.
these fucking Disney movies. Also, I think that is this Disney? Is Indiana Jones Disney?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They-
the
they
Dial
own-
Dial of Destiny lost 143 million. The Marvels movie lost $237 million. That's the biggest one in
Yeah.
terms of like loss. Dude, what the fuck? They've lost like $1 billion in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean they'll get it right back for the next Avengers movie. I'm sure the next one will do $1 billion.
I don't know. Like, who the fuck is going to be in it?
Well-
Shang-Chi?
Well, given the story, is like it's Doomsday, right?
I don't care. I don't.
I didn't give a shit. I don't care at all. Also, I left this one out too, but Wish also came out in 2023 from Disney and lost 130 million. So
Yeah.
it's been, I'm not joking. If you that list in like 2022, 23, and 23 is all Disney almost. Like maybe like
Mhm.
2 or 3 movies that are not. It's like hundreds upon hundreds of millions. It's $1 billion, over $1 billion that they've lost in 2 years. It's crazy to me, man. Like how they can keep just churning shit out.
Mm-hmm.
It is, I'm not surprised. It's Disney has burnt a lot of bridges with people just by making bad movie after bad movie, from the Star Wars sequels to worse and worse Marvel films to, I mean, that Snow White film that gets reshot every month. And for what I
Yeah.
understand now, it's like a $300 million budget. It would have to be like $900 million to break even.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Didn't the lead actress in that like go crazy or something and shave her head and do a bunch of crazy shit here lately?
Every-
Like,
every week she goes crazy and does something.
Yeah.
And then I think they made her do an apology. You just tell she didn't write up. They just said, "Put this up now." Well, that goes to tell you, an Indiana Jones film flopped. That's how bad it is.
hard.
Mhm.
It really, really, it lost $143 million. So, I mean, dude. Yeah, I
Well-
mean that's the list basically. There's more movies on. There's a lot more movies on there, but like a
course.
lot of them, like nobody's ever even really heard of or would give a shit about. But like that's a pretty good representation. And the one thing that I did notice in doing this is like there's no other studio besides Disney that had that many flops of that amount of money in that order over years.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's very telling of what they're doing.
What about somebody in the chat brought this up? What about Gladiator 2? Do you think that's gonna flop?
Yeah,
$300 million.
I don't think
plus movie.
anybody gives a fuck about Gladiator now.
It's another one of those types of films I can't see people really giving a shit. Not to
Nope.
make you need to make at least 600 to 700 million to try to make any kind of profit.
Right.
So yeah, I don't see you doing that much.
Yeah, I mean, people are asking about like how much Disney makes and theme parks. So yeah, Disney is like the film version of AEW to me. Like Tony Khan never has to worry about money, so he just keeps like putting out whatever he wants, and
Yeah, that's your way to put it.
jerking everybody off. And like same with Disney, they'll just keep doing whatever they want because they make like $1 billion a day. But it's like I think people are like. If you had a division of a company that lost billions of dollars a year, I don't give a shit who you are. Like at some point, you got to look at that and be like, hey, we need to either do something or just quit doing this. Like it's not, there's no point in it. We're just
Mhm.
losing all this money.
Yeah. As for Gladiator, though, yeah, it's not gonna make shit. That'll be a big bomb for Paramount, I think. Then we'll get another, rant online from Ridley bitching about people going to see.
Well, people are stupid, Mark. I mean, they don't understand the greatness. They're just stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of his movies seem to flop. So is what it is.
So that's it, though, in terms of the list. In terms of the biggest flops, I guess the most notable flops going down the line there. I don't know. Anybody have any questions or anything before we hop the fuck off here? We're 2 hours and 10 minutes into this. If anybody wants to throw anything out, now would be the time. And if not, well, fuck you then. Did Romulus flop? I don't think so. I think Romulus did.
Yeah,
well.
it did well.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it had flopped. It should have flopped.
I was going to mention when you thought of this topic, the first movie I thought of was that Rollerball remake, where it was just a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I like the original, and how the hell did John McTiernan make this movie?
Yeah.
I have no idea. There's a whole scene in Night Vision for some reason.
That's odd that is not on this list either.
They want to forget it too.
That's a good question, Wiley. I would say horror does pretty good for the most part.
Genre's popular nowadays, yeah.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
one of the bigger ones for sure.
Yeah, really, horror is the biggest genre, aside from superhero movies, remakes, and sequels and shit. It actually doesn't.
I mean, they're doing it the old school way of keeping it. Most stuff is fairly low budget, so there's not a lot of money to be lost. Keep it low budget, make your money back tenfold, and you got a hit and probably a franchise if there's interest in it from the studio doing more because they see potential. So,
well, here's the thing, right? You can't do comedies anymore because you can't be funny, so that's out. People try to do dramas every now and then, but nobody goes and sees them. So,
what was the last like $500 million grossing comedy or anything that even like people were talking about like constantly?
I could not
boards or
tell you, man.
I can't think
Beetlejuice
of
2.
Oh,
what was it?
Beetlejuice 2.
Beetlejuice.
That ain't a comedy. That's a fucking.
That's what people tell me is comedy. They liked it.
That's one of the most depressing films I've seen in a while. The death of a fucking classic. You know what? It wasn't, but I don't think they had that calculated into this yet. Megaflopolis.
Yeah.
Say with that Crow, that was a big flop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
anime is popular too, actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would just look at like the top 5 big hits in the US this year is Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, Despicable Me 4, Beetlejuice 2, and Dune 2.
It's all sequels or fucking, superhero shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 out of 5.
Or a combination of both. Yeah. The Fall Guy made 180 million worldwide. How much was the budget of the Fall Guy? I wonder.
I think it's a flop.
Yeah, it didn't make what it should have made, that's for sure. So I really enjoyed the film. Yeah, it's a shame. That one should have made a lot more.
I don't know. I'm not sure what this sentence means exactly.
Oh, the movie with you about the Wicked Witch.
Oh no, I
Yeah.
hit the wrong thing. I have to
Oh.
go see that tomorrow with my kids, unfortunately. Sorry, but I don't think boring, lawful, good heroines or heroes are not hip and have too many morals.
Talk about superheroes, maybe.
Don't think we're
I don't know. Maybe he's drunk.
sci-fi. When's the last sci-fi movie that's been? And don't you dare fucking say Alien Romulus. I'll kill somebody.
Like a sequel or like an original sci-fi? Or
Yeah, let's go with like any original sci-fi idea. What was the last one? What the hell kind of question is that? Can't even put that up there.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no comment on that.
sci-fi.
I don't even know.
What is up? That's a good question. I think it's just like it's they're going the convention route, man. It's like I said, like
Mhm.
once you
Oh,
set a
yeah.
precedent for something, like people just that's where it goes. It just keeps going up and up and up. And it will continue to go up and people will continue to buy it. And like that's what's gonna happen, and it ain't gonna stop anytime soon.
Mhm. The Martian, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And then before that, I guess it would have been Interstellar, which was 2014. But again, those are like a decade ago. So yeah, not many good big sci-fi hits.
All right, here's one for you. What was the last Western that made a lot of money?
Oh God.
Not Kevin Costner's.
No.
Because I'm trying to think, like it's none of those like Oppenheimer's. It's not a Western, but Oppenheimer was like a big movie that was not a remake or sequel or anything.
Yeah, that's actually a drama, I guess. That
Yeah.
did make a lot of money.
And well, you said
Django.
comedy. You said when you said
What?
comedy, Barbie.
Yeah, I guess Barbie is a comedy in a weird fucking.
Is it
way.
really?
How would you classify it? I don't know. I don't like the movie. What is it?
It's a chick flick. That's what I call it. I guess it's a comedy.
That's sexist.
People are saying Django. Yeah, I mean that. It's funny that genre had somewhat of a resurgence around the time of like, I guess the mid to late 2000s, where you had like 310 to Yuma and stuff like that was coming out. But it didn't stick, and it went away again. It's like, I guess maybe every other couple decades, maybe there'll be a few that try to come out, but
Yep.
I think most people are afraid of touching that genre because it's never the big draw that it potentially could be.
Well, I think also a lot of people, they're just, if we're talking about boxes, they're so used to, understandably, the streaming platform of I just want to stay home and watch a film. Even it may be a film that back in the day you would have seen in the theater, but it's like, yeah, I'll just watch it at home and it won't be a big deal. And like nowadays, either has to be like a big franchise part of thing, a superhero or a sequel, or it's got to be something that really causes some kind of fervor, like Sound of Freedom, which called a fervor, the Jim Caviezel one about the trafficking.
Oh
that-
yeah. I
that-
completely forgot about that. Yeah.
And that made a lot of money. They made well over, for its budget, like over 100 million, I think, for such a low budget. Or Terrifier 3. Well, I mean, this is sequel, but it's going to cause a bit of fervor. And I think people are just so used to seeing everything that I think a lot of people become desensitized.
Mm-hmm.
They just become desensitized.
I mean, I guess I could see that, but like, well, I know you go to the movies quite a bit,
Yeah.
but for you, Matt, you're a movie guy, obviously, but
Yeah.
you don't have a movie theater around you. If there was
Not
one
nearby.
close, right? If there were any closer, what gets you into the theater?
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's like,
Would you do the same? Like, even if it was close, like you just stay home, it's easier to stream.
just
Do you
be
not
honest,
care about the theater experience like that?
not anymore as I get older. Maybe because I get older, I'm tired of babies crying. I'm tired of women not shutting up.
Just
Tired of
tell
men
them to
not
shut
shutting
up.
up. I'm tired of like people snacking on their food or people getting a fight over here for some reason or the
Mhm.
projector screws up or getting there, coming back home. Like the whole thing is not it has to be something very, very special. Like when I saw Gravity in the theater or Blade Runner
Mm.
2049 theater. But I think for a lot of people, it has to be some kind of big experience that they'll then tell people. But if it's a film that it doesn't look too bad, I'm like, maybe I would go see if it was nearby, maybe. But would I be sad that I missed it in theater? No. I think there's a lot of people that, and also we're edging out. The younger people, they're not growing up with that. They go to the theater all the time experience. They're much more on their computer, on their phones,
Yeah.
streaming Netflix, Hulu. When they're more used to that and they have that constant feedback, that constant ability to get what they want instantaneously, that's a nice addiction for a lot of younger people. And those are going to be more the people spending money as they grow up. And then going to go, well, I could just go to the theater with some friends, but we could go get a party or have a big screen TV. Some people have their own theaters at home. And that
Right.
seems to be more and more of a thing. And I think you're going to see that develop more. I'm not saying theaters will go away, but I just think as the younger are used to this way of doing things and
Mhm.
streaming doing things, it's just going to develop even more. And they didn't grow up like we did, where you went to the theater every week and you didn't have as many options as we do now.
Mhm. Well, Uncle Bill, like, you've got kids right there. That's the next generation. How do they feel about the theater experience? Are they excited to go? Do they?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, they seem to be like as excited as I was back in the day
Mhm.
to go now. It's just, it is a different experience. I don't know what it is, but well, first of all, everything's gotten like 1,000 times more expensive. Like it was expensive before,
Yeah.
but now it's like just ridiculously expensive.
Mhm.
And secondly, like in my experiences recently, you do see a lot of like more distractions, like kids running back and forth, up and down, like screaming, fucking just
Uh-huh.
anything you can think of, to distract you from the actual movie itself.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
But that's also true. There's a lot of shitty movies in the theaters more so than back then.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
very
maybe they're
true,
not
too.
paying attention or something. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they just can't stay focused because the movies are so bad. It's possible.
Mhm.
No, I just mean like for the whole conversation is like, I know it's me saying because I'm old, but there's a lot more better movies back then than nowadays, at least that theater wise.
No, yeah,
I-
it is. I would agree with that for sure.
I would say the more better films you see are ones that only go, and maybe they're lucky they get a theater, like you guys saw Terrifier 3 or The Substance or something. But mostly it's your Twisters or your fucking.
I don't know why I was just a killer. You can just imagine this. Oh. But I'm stuck on going to the movies because like that's what I grew up doing.
Mhm.
So I
You
would
still like
probably,
the collective experience of the audience, right? I mean, at
Well,
least when
part
it's
of it-
something they react to.
part of it's just nostalgia too. I mean, part of it's connected to like, just being like going in the past. But yeah, there's a part of it that you want to see like people's reactions to the movie.
Mhm.
And unfortunately nowadays, like there's not a whole lot of reactions to movies because there's not a whole lot of good things to react to in a fucking movie.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's just I don't know.
What was
I'd
the
recommend
last?
it.
Sorry,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
what was the last film that was worth it for you to see it in the theater, where you genuinely enjoyed the experience and you were like, that was worth seeing in the theater versus seeing it at home?
Oh, like that would make a dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said this before, and I know Rambo's going to completely agree with me on this. It was Long Legs. It really was. Like when I saw that movie, I don't know, man. Like something about like going into it, not having any expectation, not knowing what the hell it was going to be about, and like
Yeah.
they put out something like that, and it just so out of left field.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly was.
Yeah, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. Yeah, and that's one that I would definitely pick.
Cool.
Yeah.
Godzilla -1, which still has like the worst name ever for. It's like Cowboys and Aliens to me when I see it.
Great movie. I agree with the people in the chat, but yeah, it's not a good title. It's like taking Godzilla's temperature up his ass.
Preminator, yeah. Yes to your question, for sure. I mean, it's not that expensive, honestly. It's really, I mean, it depends on how like far you're willing to go. Are you going all out with everything? Are you trying to get the full on immersive, like real true theater experience? Or are you just trying to set up a big screen TV, lots of surround sound, and go for it? Depends on your setup. He was asking about home theater.
Oh, okay.
Ever
Like,
want
what
to?
the shit?
Yeah, would you guys ever want to do that? You're just fine with watching it on the TV, I presume.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I mean, oh, go ahead, man.
I would say maybe. Depends on the situation at the time.
I've got a couple of like speakers set up, like surround sound speakers. They're the clips kind that I've had forever, and that's what I run the audio through. In terms of like a home theater, like if you're talking about like a fucking having a movie theater in your house type of situation, no. But I mean, you got an OLED and all that shit.
By the way, what were at the beginning you said that you had topics?
Oh, yeah. I completely forgot.
Oh, by the way, here's my topic. Fuck Popeye the Slayer Man. I'm tired of this fucking cartoon horror shit. Fuck that movie.
You will love that movie when it comes out.
I will hate that movie when it comes out. I like Popeye. See, it was fine when you fucked with Winnie the Pooh, but when you fucked with Popeye, you fucked with me now. So now I'm pissed.
That's fucking with you personally now.
Because I like Popeye. Now you're fucking with the horns.
All right. So have you guys seen the standard 4K release for Trick or Treat? And if so, like, what did you think about it?
Oh, it's pre-order March, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't look bad. I mean, was it 40 some bucks? I mean, I know prices are like that. I can't help it. It's always going to be a bit much for me, but I look forward to it. I will maybe pick it up in March.
I actually think that the cover of that is the best cover. Sadly,
Oh, really?
just that particular cover like works for me better than any of the other ones.
Okay.
And somebody said it was like $45. It's not $45. I think it's like $30 or something like that.
On the pre-order, it said 44.
Well, where was I looking that up at? I can't remember if it was Diabolic or like. It was
okay.
Hold on. Yeah. So the 4K pre-order on Diabolic is $30.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if that's something different. I don't know what the difference is. If maybe one of them comes with the slipcover, do any of them come with a slipcover or like?
On the website on Synapse, the pre-order, it looked like a slipcover.
I'm not sure. There's got to, if one of them's 40 some bucks and one of them, there's got to be some difference that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, I'm looking on Synapse pre-orders. Okay, one's a Blu-ray, one's a 4K.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is.
No, I mean, well, maybe on Synapse, but on the 4K on here, it's still 30 bucks.
Oh.
Hmm.
No, I'm
So
looking I'm looking on Diabolic. It says this one's $23.99 for the Blu-ray.
Yeah, and then $29.99 for the 4K.
Okay.
So
That's
I mean,
cool.
I guess that's the most bare bones edition. If I'm guessing, there has to be some. That's just the standard with no slipcover or anything. Which 30 bucks is fairly reasonable for a 4K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's what the same thing that came to my mind too.
I'm glad I waited. Hip hip hooray for me.
Yeah, just to give a plug to this as well. I really enjoy these shows. Oh
Very
shit!
cool.
I'm gonna put it out and take it back off real quick. Alfa Romeo's having a show tomorrow night about Goblin film music, and that's one
cool.
of my favorite soundtrack
Very cool.
score, whatever you want to call them, makers.
Yeah, Goblin is great.
Let's see. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was all those fucking Severin releases. I was curious what your guys' opinion. They released 10 movies in the last 10 days, and I think one of them I was actually interested in.
Mhm.
But
Let's see
so the
what they are.
releases,
Let me see.
yeah, I'm trying to look them up here too.
While you guys are looking that up, Greg, did you watch it? Did you buy that release? Or did you just see like images online? I'm just curious.
Oh yeah, the Terminator 4K. Everyone's been saying it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's got the original theatrical audio on there, which was really weird because like I haven't experienced that since like the VHS, and I've only had the Blu-ray for all these years, and it's the remastered one. So hearing the original like gunshot sound effects and all that stuff was pretty cool. I will say that like the score, Brad Fiedel's score, is not as, how should I say, punchy as it is on the remastered version. It's a bit more muted. Of course, it's still the same music and everything, but it's a bit more flat in the original theatrical audio version, but still enjoyable though. And then as far as the picture goes, I thought it looked better than a lot of the other 4Ks that Cameron's done. There is still film grain in there for all the people that are worried about that. I know that's a big thing. There's plenty of film grain in there. It's not as present as it once was, obviously due to the AI upscaling or whatever. But it provides a solid enough color palette. Like the picture doesn't seem overdone. It's not overproduced. Like it looks good enough for me. I mean, I'm happy with it. But I know that there's a lot of people out there that just don't like the AI thing, period. Doesn't matter how good it looks or if it's better than the others. That's just not their thing. And I get it. But for me, it's fine. There's a lot of small things that I noticed in it that I didn't notice in the movie before, just because it is so crisp and cleaned up. So there's a lot of bits of detail that I didn't notice before.
it's a killer point. Using AI for a movie that warns against
Mhm.
AI.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've heard a lot. I actually watched the police station scene. Somebody had put it up, and it looks really good. Like it doesn't look like the rest of those. I don't know what the deal is there, but yeah.
Hmm.
And almost everybody I've heard talk about that movie said that it looks amazing in 4K. So,
Cool.
so here's Severn's releases. All right, for their Black Friday sale, their version of Vinegar Syndrome's sale here. So you've got, I don't know why the fuck it's got them on videos for some reason here. The Hell of the Living Dead 4K. I really love that movie. I don't have any interest in updating that movie to 4K. Rats Nights of Terror 4K, again, same concept. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't care that much about that movie. Night Train Murders. That's one that like I was actually interested in because I don't own it. And isn't it supposed to be like I'm not sure I've ever even seen it.
It's like a Last House on the
yeah.
Left, pretty much. The majority of the film takes place on the train, and I would say like the last act of it is off the train and in the house, and it's revenge. It's a lot like Last House on the Left, but the Italian version, basically.
And then things kind of start to go more and more downhill from there. So you got The Mask of Satan, which is one of the last ones that was announced. I've got no idea what that is. I think it was a TV movie.
Yeah, I believe so.
They really must have gotten like some sort of a sale on like Bruno Mattei films or something.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look on their Facebook, but of course that Facebook shit's popping up like crazy.
Why don't you get a Facebook, man? Live in the now.
No, I'd rather not. There's too many fucking.
People will find you. You just make one. No one knows what it is, and you never have to use it. Big Papa Pump 85 or something.
If I was gonna do one, that's exactly what I would do.
Have Scott Steiner there. You go. No one would ever know.
Son of a bitch! And did you find them on there anywhere, Rambo? Because it's not letting me.
No, I don't understand.
They're on Dawn of the Discs. If you can get that on there
Okay.
somewhere.
Yeah. Let me get that. 1 second. Okay.
As far as
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, as far as Vinegar Syndrome goes, though, pretty much everybody thinks that The Keep is going to be the big title that they release come Black Friday.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it will be.
Well, I mean, who knows? You should be set for disappointment.
I mean, they're pretty good about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Trying to see.
But typically, like when it's always a bigger title, they seem to like if it like the rumors persisted that like, hey, it's this one that's coming out. It always does. So I think it will be. Like Congo was one for a while. I remember when Roadhouse was one. Like anytime it is like a title that's been out there for a while, seems to actually drop. So I think it will be. Question is how many are they going to press? Like how many copies are we going to actually get?
Well, there was the idea too that they were going to release, what was it, like the director's cut?
Yeah.
That everybody had always been talking about that they always wanted. I've never seen the movie, so I got no fucking clue. Like I hear that it has like an amazing score, Tangerine, which I mean they did the score to a bunch of movies that I love. So speaking of Synthetic, I'm sure he's got to love them.
Oh, yeah.
So okay, I got the one is The Mask of Satan.
Mm-hmm.
One is Antiviral, which is a
That's the
2012 film.
so that's the one. Other one I was interested in. That's the Cronenberg, the Brandon Cronenberg movie. I think it's like his first film.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I kind of ask like people on the Discord, like, is that
Uh-oh. Did he freeze for you, Matt?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, he's back.
did I freeze?
You
Yeah.
did, yeah.
You're
It's on-
you're
it's on
in the
time.
middle of saying Discord.
Yeah, I posted on the Discord like whether or not that movie was worth a shit, just to get an idea of like, you know, if I should try to get it. Most people seem to like it, but most people also seem to think it's not as good as the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, I like his other ones more. Possessor for sure. That one is very divisive. Yeah, it's for his first movie. I don't think it's that bad, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you feel about it, honestly.
So the others were Night Train Murders,
Mhm.
Thorn Girls. Thorn
Yeah.
Girls.
Oh, shit, I forgot about that.
I remember that one.
Last Cannibal World. Is that like
Mhm.
Super Mario World? Last Cannibal.
There's a lot of cannibal. It's very cannibal heavy releases from Severin. Yeah,
Yeah, Hell of the Living Dead, Slave of the Cannibal God,
awful movies.
Rats Night of Terror, like you mentioned,
Mhm.
Eaten Alive, 1980.
Yeah,
The Lindsay Eaten Alive movie.
1980, after launching Alberto Lindsay, Eaten Alive.
I thought that was already out. I thought they had already put that out.
Says you're
I've got it.
You have a 4K or is that
No,
what
I've
it
got
is?
the Blu-ray. I don't know if they put
Okay.
out a 4K.
Okay.
It seems to me that most of these are just like titles they already own that have been out on Blu-ray.
Mhm.
They're putting out on 4K.
Yeah.
And Delicatessen.
Okay.
I don't even know what the hell that is. Like,
Um,
I think CK talked about it, but I've never even heard of it really.
I want to say 10, 15 years ago, that was one that got a lot of talk and a lot of hype. I do remember hearing a lot about that one. Kind of faded away, though.
So, of those titles, who's excited about any of that?
I mean,
It's like,
not really.
oh, man. Like, is that it? Are they done announcing or are they still going to go all the way
yeah, I
up
think
until
that's
Black
it
Friday?
from what I can gather.
I just see 10 titles, so they
Mhm.
figured for them that's enough.
Where's stage fright? That's really all I want. Just give me stage fright.
If they still really have it, or that was all weird lollygagging around. Where's Demon Dave when you need him?
It's too busy working on that lawsuit.
He's cutting a promo on somebody as we speak. Yeah. And then the last thing I had on here though is like because nobody's excited about those 7 releases. Like I might get one of those.
Yeah, maybe
It's
one.
kind of sad, man. Like I was really hoping they would do something
Mhm.
big, but they pulled a Scream Factory and just released all their shit on 4K, like that they already had. So
Yeah.
the other thing, did you see the Blair Witch replacement disc shit?
Yeah.
Today? Like,
So it's the
Ah.
theatrical, the remaster one, or the original?
I
didn't understand
I'd have
that.
to look back on it and see which one it is. One of them's in mono and not stereo. I think that's what it boiled
Yeah.
down to.
Mhm.
Like one of those cuts. And I watched all 3 of the cuts. I fucking didn't notice that. Like, I don't know who notices this shit, man. Like, I mean, some of the stuff is so fucking like,
Especially with that kind of movie that's found footage.
yeah.
Mhm.
Would it make a big difference? I mean, you
It
said
ma-
you didn't notice.
No, it made a big difference to somebody that's like super anal retentive about shit like that, but no.
I went for the replacement anyway, so if I did it, cool.
Mhm.
It's funny. They Diabolic accidentally sent me 2 copies of that. Limited edition.
I saw that. Did you send it back? One of them.
Fuck no, I sent it to my friends. I got that email and I was pissed off. I'm like, fuck that. It's not my fault.
Mhm.
The post office nearby only opens for 4 hours a day.
Mhm.
And I'm not getting there in those 4 hours.
I like how they put in the email. It said like, "We'll take it or we'll have it shipped back to us at our own expense because it's our fault." But I'm like, he's got to drive it to the post office and he's got to package it. Like, are you guys gonna send a fucking courier to come like get it from his house?
I said, if they bill me, they bill me. But I just said to a friend of mine as a Christmas present, so fuck it.
I'm
It
betting
ain't
there's
my fault.
I'm betting there's a whole lot of those probably that went out that shouldn't have, and they're probably not going to get any of them back.
Yeah.
So, oh well.
So one thing I didn't like about it though, and I'm gonna pull it up here, just because like it was. I just hate when companies do this shit, man. So Second Sight puts this up, and they're like, to receive a corrected disc, please email us at blair@secondsightfilms.co.uk with Blair Witch replacement disc as the subject, and include your order number if you order directly from our store, or a proof of purchase if ordered elsewhere, together with your address. Look, just send the fucking disc to people that you know bought it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I get if it's bought from another store or something, but like, you've got a list of the just send the disc. Like, you know, you screwed it up. Like, if it's that big of a deal, you're gonna make a post about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of other companies that when they do that, they just automatically ship you the replacement disc. Which, funny enough, Severin did that. When they fucked up the Opera release, you just got a disc in the mail one day, you know, and that was it. Like, they didn't.
Yeah, that thing just showed up, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" Like, I didn't order anything, and then I open it, and it's Opera, and then Orbit did that for Substitute. They just sent me a replacement disc. I didn't email them, or anything. They just sent it.
So yeah, if you look on here too, it is the theatrical cut that's in dual mono rather than stereo. Dual mono. Sounds an awful lot like stereo to me, but I don't know.
I was thinking that too.
What? I just want to meet the person that's like sitting there and they're like, damn it, this is in fucking dual mono and not stereo. I want my money back.
I would not have been able to catch that. I haven't looked through it yet, but you guys are doing a Blair Witch show tomorrow, or you, right?
Yeah, that is one thing I wanted to bring up. To kind of plug 11 a.m. tomorrow, it drops the Blair Witch retrospective, which is pretty huge. Like, we're not just talking about the Second Sight film. We're actually talking about the entire just history of the Blair Witch, including everything that led up to it, like our experiences with seeing the film, our experiences with the marketing campaign that was around the film, just everything that kind of went into that. And we talk a little bit about the sequel as well as the 2016, whatever the hell that was, remake, reimagine, whatever the fuck that was.
Did you actually see it this time?
No, I've never, I'll never watch that movie, but like Garrett liked it.
Teach their own. It wasn't for me.
Teach their own. I love it when you say that. Yeah. Indeed.
I hate that movie. But did you rewatch the original?
Yeah. I mean, I watched the documentary on that Second Sight disc. I watched the original again. And I watched the original in the the high 8 16 millimeter version. And then like flipped back over to the theatrical cut. It's a huge difference, man. Like, to me, the way they remastered the Super 8 16 looks amazing and like 1,000 times better than the theatrical cut.
Very cool.
Like, that's the version of that to watch to me.
And is it true the documentary is like 2.5 hours?
Yeah, it's 2.5 hour long documentary. Yeah.
Wow.
Now the weird
Go ahead.
The weird part about it is, to me, I understand this, but I hate it. Like, there's none of the cast is in it because like they're having that whole battle with the studio about residuals and like money and shit like that. So they're not gonna do any kind of like publicity for any of these releases as long as they're not getting paid for it. I'm sure that's what their thought is. So you've just got the directors and the producers, and you've got some of the other people, but like, there's nobody like in the main cast or anything like that that's actually talking about it.
Well, that sucks.
But yeah, that's going to be a huge show in terms of like the depth that we covered, as well as like just how long that show is too.
Very cool.
Nice. Did you get anything else in release wise?
No, not recently. I've got a couple things ordered. Cat 3 shit that I should be getting in.
Well, I got the I talked about the Terminator release already, but then I think I ordered this right when you were telling me about it last weekend. The
oh, good,
1982. Yeah, loved it. Yeah, man, there's so many special features on here. It was as good as I hoped it was, or I hoped it would be. I enjoyed it a lot. It's very good.
I kind of figured you'd like it. I don't know, like, I mean, anybody interested in that kind of thing, that's pretty much the perfect documentary for fandom or anything like that of movies.
Yeah, like it, it's funny. I never really thought of it as a geek year, 1982, but like when they started pointing all that stuff out and showcasing all those films, so I'm like, yeah, I guess it kind of was. But I never looked at the year that way. But of course, I appreciate the 80s, unlike Tarantino.
Yeah, he really hated the 80s.
I got this limited edition of, I think you ordered this too, right, Uncle Bill? The 4K of A Simple Plan?
No, I didn't. I ordered Sale. I didn't order Simple. I don't know why. I should have.
This is my first time owning this on anything. I've always been a fan of it, but I just never bought it on anything. But I'm glad I waited. And now they got this killer 4K, and it's got a ton of content on the back. If you guys can even see all that, but that whole paragraph down there.
Oh yeah.
Everything under the word 4K. So it's loaded with stuff on here. So
Arrow has been killing it lately with that shit.
Yeah. And I know there's a bunch that should be coming in, like you mentioned, Cell. Pretty sure Demolition Man, but I think that's a little ways off.
Fuck. Did you get your copy of Scissor Penis before it sold out?
I did not. Unfortunately, I missed out on Scissor Penis. That's one for Rambo.
Gozer, yes, it has, but I think it's only like
that's the German
or other regions. Yeah, it's not gotten like a U.S. Blu-ray as far as I know.
Of course,
I've got the German fucking Blu-ray in there, and it's amazing. Like, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
I actually did order everything from the last like bundle from Air, and I'll probably do that again like every time they put anything out. So unfortunately, I read some about what the movie was about. I don't know, like I don't feel like it's going to be a good month or a couple months for Air for me, but it's like Vinegar Syndrome, man. You just take the good with the bad, like just kind of move on.
Yeah, that one the synopsis didn't sell me on it, so I passed. No. That and Scissor Penis.
Yeah, so I could go ahead and tell you Scissor Penis is awful. Like, it's just
I could have told you from the title.
Well, I was hoping for something like a Frank Henenlotter style movie. You know what I mean? Like, that was goofy but had like practical effects and was crazy like that.
True.
And this is like more like a handheld, low budget 2000s fucking with really little to no gore or anything like that in it. It's more of a comedy too than it is anything else. It's just goofy. There's a lot of nudity in it and a lot of shit like that, and like, but it's not good.
Yeah, like when they start announcing titles on their website, typically what I'll end up doing is just like trying to find a trailer or something. As much as I want to go in blind, it's still quite a bit of money for some of those. I need to see something for it. So I'll look it up and see if it might pique my interest even a little bit, and I'll make my decision from there. But typically, yeah, I've tried to refrain from buying everything they put up because a lot of their stuff isn't good.
Oh. Now they announced 3 new titles too. I hadn't heard of a single fucking one of. That's the good thing about
Same.
that company though. It's kind of become like the Vinegar Syndrome to me of now.
Mhm.
Like every title I've never heard of it, but I just want to support them, and actually like I feel like they know enough about that genre that whatever they put out is going to be at least, decent, except for Scissor Pen, and like it appeals to that Cat 3 kind of audience.
Mhm.
They're really the only company beside. Well, I take that back. Vinegar Syndrome started doing it more, but like
Mhm.
besides them, like nobody really releases those movies.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Gothic Rose. Again, like it's an Italian version of Last House, basically. It's a bit more of an isolated setting on the train. There's a lot of wild and crazy shit that goes down on the train, as you could imagine.
Yeah.
A lot of it I probably can't talk about here, but it's entertaining. If you like Italian horror and you like Last House, I don't see how you wouldn't like Night Train Murders. Speaking of, I think I still have the Blue Underground DVD of that. That would be a cool show. We need to do Blue Underground DVD retrospective or year one.
Did they also put out a Blu-ray of that? Because I think I have it, and I think that might have been one of the last things Blue Underground ever sent us.
I don't think so, but I could be wrong. That's one thing I didn't really get too into was buying a ton of their Blu-rays. I probably have like, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 over there. Like I just, there was no way I was going to rebuy all that stuff because there's a lot of that stuff that like I didn't need to rebuy and I was fine with it just on DVD. But yeah, it's still an interesting time though. I'd love to do a show on that. Like UB, I just thought about something. Why did we never do a volume 2 or second episode of the Arrow show? Remember we did Arrow year 1?
That's a good fucking question. I
That's
think it
DK's
just
fault. I'm gonna blame him.
I think it really just it's like all those other shows, but there's so many shows that we've done like 1 or 2 episodes of, and they just fall off the like grid, and I don't know what the hell the reason is for it. It just never happens again. So many different ones that I can look at and wonder like what in the hell happened.
Spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel, make the deal, and yeah, he just never does that.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I don't know. It's a good question though.
Maybe I'll message him tomorrow, and I don't want to bother him tonight, but I'll let him know.
There's no way in hell he's up right now.
No, yeah, I know.
There's no way.
The gummies have taken over.
The gummies have like taken over his brain. Yeah. Yeah. So we're 3 hours into this son of a bitch, and that's plenty enough. So Mark, anything you got coming up?
Well, I don't know. My weekend's gonna be pretty crazy with everything I got going on, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'll pass it off to Matt because I've told you guys everything on here, but I'm not gonna share all that on the stream. But
Yeah.
you guys know what's happening.
Up for me, just been very busy with requests, so there'll be a lot coming to the channel. Whether all sorts of different types, from a special on Garfield Thanksgiving review of that, some reactions to pretty interesting animated material called the Walton Files, where this guy did these. They're animation, but they look like a 70s, 80s VHS tape as that aesthetic. And they're pretty creepy, actually pretty creepy animation stuff. The Mysterious House and the sequel, The Return of the Pumpkin Rabbit, which the titles seem cute, but actually again has that nice like VHS vibe with even that static background and looks like there's all sorts of dirt and stuff in the material. So I thought that was pretty cool. So yep, more gaming thanks to requests. Me losing my mind with Crash Bandicoot 4 to a point I want to throw someone out the window by the end of it, but I didn't yet. Yeah, more stuff. Commentary's been requested. John Carpenter's Vampires, which I liked, but wasn't as good as I remembered. Virtuosity still held up. Found some interesting info about the making of the film. That apparently there's supposed to be a love story, and Denzel said no because he didn't think the audience wanted a black guy with a white girl. So they changed the whole script.
Oh, how wrong he is, considering what we see on the internet these days.
And much more to come. Reviews. Let's see. I saw Ghost World the other day for Bod Zombie. I know sometimes he's in the chat. And more to come. There'll be re-reviews of End of Days, Lockup, classic films, tons more. So sorry for all the spam of the videos, but I don't want people to wait too long. I think it's the least I could do. So yeah, Manhunt 2, that playthrough, because I did the first one. That was a request. A lot more to come. My channel is Rambo Raff for Life, all one word. And just be warned, I upload a lot. I apologize for that, but people request stuff. I hate making people wait. That's just in my psyche. So I'd rather be there than people just, if they don't watch it, fine. If they do watch it, cool. But at least I like to have it up there. And I just hate making people wait. I think that's the least I could do. So
I think you should make them wait.
Especially on some of those porn titles.
Yeah, I think you.
I got one comment. Steel Bustin' Babes 34.
What the fuck?
That'll be tomorrow. That review.
That's not a parody.
That's not a parody at all, is it?
No, it's exactly what you think it is.
Just got.
That was a paid request. Steel Bustin' Babes 34. I don't know why not 32, 31. Apparently there was like 70 of them. In like 4 years by some guy named Ron. I forgot his name. Ronnie or Rhonda. Something with R in it, I think. I said in review, but
It's so weird now. It's just like it's not even a parody. It's just they just got you reviewing porns now.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining because better than Borderlands.
That's true.
So I might see, do I want to watch Gladiator 2 or this? I'd rather watch this. I haven't requested Gladiator 2, but I'd rather watch this. At least this is interesting.
The Cabin Fever sex parody one.
What?
There's
a Cabin Fever?
Yeah, it's called Sex Fever.
Of course it is.
And what's the X? I think it's Triple X Files or something like that.
Yeah,
you had to have seen that, Mark.
Listen,
I skimmed through it for research purposes only.
Okay. Somebody on here really needs to have him do the Triple X Files. If you haven't, yeah.
Okay, I'll be waiting for that then.
But yeah, so one more plug for the Blair Witch show because it's a really good show. Drops tomorrow, 11 a.m. Goes over the whole Blair Witch legacy, all the movies, as well as this new second sight release, which we didn't know about the replacement disc at that time. Even if I did know about the replacement disc, I don't think I'd give a shit because it's dual mono and not stereo. I don't know what the hell that even really means. Also, Patrick says it's called the Sex Files.
Is that the sequel or?
That's the sequel. Do you remember the Triple Exorcist? That was another one too. That was like, there was a bunch that this one girl made. Somebody in this chat knows what I'm talking about. Don't fucking sit there and lie to yourself. I forget her name, but she made a bunch of like movie parody ones right around the same time. And that was one of them. I think there's a Reanimator one. I can't remember what
Repenetrator.
Repenetrator or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I know you're talking about.
No, it wasn't me. Killer. No, but it was some. I can't remember. her
I remember
name.
that stream we were doing with Garrett, and he's like, "Who's that?"
Oh,
Like,
shit.
I've never heard of her.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay.
We know you haven't, Garrett. Anyway, somebody will figure this out towards the end of this. But yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's been a great show. Thank everybody for being on here. Thank Mark, Matt, of course, as always. And so we'll take next Friday off, I guess, for the Black Friday sales festivities. All that
That's on
shit's
the
going
28th,
on.
right? On Thursday, you guys are doing the show?
29, yeah, 28th going into the 29th, I guess. Yeah.
So next
Mhm.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, until next time, always remember that everybody dies, but Friday night lives.
I'd like to tell people to thumbs up the video, Uncle Bill.
Would you?
Yes. Thumbs it up with violence and fury and just love everything about it.
You hit the heart button, and you hit the ass button, then you can hit the go fuck yourself button. Follow that up with the I don't give a shit button.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit radio shirts. You can get Last South on the left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Special thanks goes out to our supporters on Patreon. Do you know what kind of stuff you can get on Patreon, Uncle Bill, starting at only $1 a month?
What's that?
Access to every Dead Pit show since 2005. We got almost 200 fan commentaries that we've done over the decades.
We have a literal jukebox full of songs and thousands of reviews. I don't even know how many shows are up on there now that we've done over the years.
Hundreds of thousands.
You need to figure this out now and subscribe to us on Patreon and YouTube and Instagram and help us to 1 million. The road to 1 million subscribers starts today.
So deadpitonpatreon.com. Join today. Tiers started on